That's it. The little blue bar is on to say we are live. Today is Friday, the 3rd of August, 2018. On the panel, we have Patricia and Astral, and I think Flat Earth Dude is joining us. And of course, special guest, Mr. Thrive and Survive. Hey, hey.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rich.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good to see you all again.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
What's it been, a month since I've been here?
Yeah, I was saying, we're looking like you, Rich. We've got no sleeves on our T-shirts. It's that warm here.
Yeah.
For a change.
And my truck has got no air conditioning, so as little as I can wear, the better.
I've got my vest, my shirt. My vest, shirt on, and shorts. Sat outside. It's absolutely perfect right now.
Hey, Astral, in your whatever that is, with the looks like lights and a couple of triangles and stuff, is that a picture at the top of you embedded in it?
No.
Wow, it looks like it when it's small. It looks like a picture of somebody
My
at the
icon.
top.
My icon.
Yeah.
No, but it is a outline of a person.
Wow, it really, when it's small, looks like a picture of a face at the at where the head would be.
Well, it is. If you look at it, it's a Star of David, I suppose.
Oh, okay, okay. So it is a face.
Yeah, and then where the purple is, or the indigo, that's the head.
Gotcha. Okay.
The
Awesome.
bottom, the red is, your root chakra.
This is the first time Astro I've seen it as an actual person in it behind it. Isn't
Oh,
that
right,
amazing?
okay, yeah, okay. But it's someone who's like kind of meditating. That's
Yeah.
the essence of it, the astral thief meditation into a higher, thought thing.
Yeah, I like that chakra points too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, I know that Rich has got a lot he wants to talk about today, and you might be adding someone, mightn't you? But just before that, Astral, did you want to say to Rich what you wanted to say? It's muted now.
Um.
The subject, with the televisions and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to take my camera off now because I'm so lagging.
No, I weren't. No, I wasn't going to talk about that. I wasn't going to talk about that. No, Rich, this is off air. We're not talking about that. That was just funny, Karen. Sorry. Anyway, anyone in the chat, it's nothing. It's not a conspiracy or anything like that. It's just some silly thought I had. But it's
You
just.
said 5 minutes.
No, Karen.
Sorry. Whoops. Okay.
We are a. Right. I was talking to Karen earlier, about flat Earth. Now I know that there are many people that are listening to this that have, been listening to us and other channels and other people talking about flat Earth. A lot of people, really can see. They can see that we are living on a flat Earth. I mean, come on, use your logic, use your common sense.
It was a bit more about the fact that the flat Earth is a huge, great thing, but we are conscious beings.
Sorry, yeah. I'm getting there, Karen. I'm slow to progress, I know, but basically, I'm seeing it as like, flat Earth is kind of like a progression in the sense that this is like a platform. You step on to the flat Earth, and then from here, you need to find out about yourself. We need to find out about ourselves, because I'm hearing, I'm seeing, and I'm feeling, I'm experiencing all this about we have forgotten who we are. I mean, we forgot who we are. And it's this remembering that this journey that we're on now, flat Earth, that's only that's a stepping stone. Here on where we are now, Earth, the Earth is flat. This where we are now, This is just a progression. It's like our school, university. It's a learning ground. That this is my own personal, thoughts. I meditate upon things many times, and I'm getting to this conclusion that we're still only learning. It's only a stepping stone. It's not like this is not the be all and end all of everything. This is only like a progression, Oh, I know I'm ranting, but I yield the floor. Sorry. Go on, Rich. You say something, please, brother.
Yeah, no. I've been really thinking about what you said on the last hangout a lot, which is that we are in the dark ages now and just now starting to come out of it, sort of like what we've been taught about the dark ages and then the Renaissance. And I think you've got something there. I really do. I just think that we have been, I don't know when it started, but at some point they have taken a lot of history away, changed history, and sort of dumbed us down into believing a lot of falsities today. And so many different people from different angles, not necessarily flat earth people, are coming to all these different truths and finding out all these hidden things. I just heard recently, I don't know if it's true or not, that the pyramids, maybe I heard it on here, may have been poured concrete. And that's how they did it. I mean,
here, they're saying that.
Yeah. So it's like the more you look at stuff, the more you realize that not only is everything, there's so many things today that are a lie, even down to health and different things they tell you to do, to the flat earth, to everything. I think flat earth is the biggest thing. I really do. And I just found a video from somebody, he's a Christian guy, but he more succinctly put it together than anybody I've ever heard in a short period of time anyway. I think it's a 10 or 12-minute video where the channel name is called Think About It. And Flat Earth wasn't even in the title of the video, but he got into the deception of the globe and different things like that. And I'm going to have to highlight that in a video soon, because he really did a great job with answering the question, what's the matter anyway? Why would they lie? And it's all about control and money. It really is. And who you are willing, they've taught us to give in they've taught us to voluntarily give up our freedoms and rights to a government, to somebody who is authoritative. And of course, they're the ones that are the keepers of truth, according to them. And we're supposed to believe and trust them, when it's just the opposite. They're the liars. They're the ones that want to keep control. And this is what people don't realize. We've given them voluntarily control at some point in history, and we've left them in control. And those in control never want to give it up. All they want to do is get more and more power, more and more wealth and control. And going back to your comment with they put us in the dark ages. You didn't say it exactly like that, but that's really how I took it. They have placed us into the dark ages through education, through government education. And when somebody on your channel, Karen, one of your hangouts, found that in the Smithsonian, or not Smithsonian, but the Library of Congress, where there was someone chastised and kicked out of being a teacher in 1900 for teaching that the heresy of the globe. Of course, we're told, no, this is, it started with, this was 400 or 500 years ago. And then that progressed to, no, this has been, we believed in the globe for 2,500 years. It's sort of like
already there, Rich. You can see that the press or whoever's giving out the information, it's diluted, it's polluted, it's just incorrect. Already then, they're telling us lies.
Yeah. But it's everything. Everything I look into has some sort of deception in it, it seems like. And
all to do with money. Prisons are to do with money. Medication is to do with money. Hospitals, the whole thing to do with money. Education is money. War is money. Taxes. We've got all the taxes as well. It's all to do with just money, not the people.
Well,
telling you they're looking after, trying to control you.
Education, higher education, is the big one, because what they do is, especially with sorry, I'm doing two things at a time here. Especially with.
I'll just say something.
Sure.
I don't want to say very much, but Lady Co-Pilot is being really put through it right now, just because she's told them that they don't understand what the gyroscope is. None of them understand what it means, and they're being really quite nasty to her right now, and they're going to make her like she's insane because she believes in flat Earth.
Of course, it goes against their narrative. It's crazy. But the higher education thing, I mean, think about it. It's the perfect storm of putting you into the dark age. First, they get you, and I'm just speaking for this country here, you get into a lot of debt. Almost everybody does to go to college. And it's way overpriced. And everything is that you're taught is I was thinking about today, they call it a sheepskin. You know, if you get a degree, you got your sheepskin. Yeah, they turned you into a sheep. That you pay $100,000, let's just say, to be turned into a sheep, to believe the indoctrination, to be indoctrinated for 4 years, 6 years, however long it is. And then when you get out, like let's say you're a scientist or you're a physicist or an astrophysicist, and you discover that you've been lied to, you haven't even been taught about Airy's failure and Michelson-Morley and all that. And then if you can't go against the grain because you can't get a job then, and for speaking the truth, so you don't speak the truth until you maybe retire. And then if you want to be shunned by all your friends and colleagues and everything else, you tell the truth. But if you want to hang on to that, you don't. So it's like a complete control system through education. It's really sickening.
Yeah, what it is we're looking at all these prisons, and all we're in is another kind of prison system on another level, because we're not in that one, we're in this one.
Yeah, and also, Karen, I mean, think about it. The peer review process. They won't even look at anything that goes against the grain. It won't even see the light of day. So, I mean, it's a complete circle of keeping us in the dark. So I think Astral's right. We're in the dark age.
Yeah, because if people do believe in flat Earth, what's the difference then of being a Catholic, a Christian, or whatever? Like, what does it matter? And they're so anti everything. So there's got to be a big issue here, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you know what else? Speaking of that, Catholic and Christian, that's where most people don't know this, but I know this is a little off topic, but the King James Version Bible that everybody to me, if you're told don't look anywhere else, something's wrong. And you have these people that are in this cultic belief system of do not look at anything except for the King James Version Bible. Well, what they don't realize is now, if you have a Protestant, and if you said, hey, a Catholic translated the King James Version Bible, if you actually were able to convince them that that was true, they would have problems then with the King James Version Bible. On the other hand, if you had a Catholic, you said, hey, Protestants are the ones that translated the King James Version Bible, the Catholic would then have a problem with the King James Version Bible if they believed that was true. Well, the truth is it was half and a half. I believe it was 12 people. There was 12 people on the translating committee. 6 of them were Protestant, 6 of them were Catholic, and they argued back and forth as to what the translation of almost every word in there should be. And tie that into the flat Earth really came down to an argument, a fight for power between the Protestant Church and the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church originally they took one position. I can't remember which one they took first, but I think they took the flat Earth position first, and the Protestants took the globe. And when they were wrestling for control, that swapped. And the Catholics then believed in the globe because they wanted to have more influence over the masses. So they're the ones that actually originally pushed this globe stuff. This goes back to who was it? He didn't publish his paper. The papers weren't published to his death, but the Catholics asked him to do it. I'm having a brain freeze here. It's one of the big people they always point to for globe Earth. Geez, who was it? Anyway, the Catholics are the one commissioned him to come up with these orbits and different things like that to show that the Earth was round. But then they they at the same time were telling the masses that it's flat and it's heresy to say that it's a globe. And then they swapped it when it was convenient for power, when there was this big power struggle between the two versions of Christianity at that time. So anyway, when you look into it, it's really, that's all sickening too, and control. But it always goes back to Catholics and Protestants fighting with a lot of stuff with what we believe today. And those two forces are the ones that have put us into the Dark Age. And I know that's going to offend everybody in Christianity, but it's read your history. That's true history. People not that you have to read. It's like they always say, history is written by the victor. You have to read history that wasn't written by the victor. You have to get a third party that looks on the outside and say, okay, this is what the Catholics and Protestants were doing. That's when you get the truth. But you won't get it from the individual histories of each organization.
I think as well that Martin Leakey, we had a hangout with him, and it was really interesting that something happened in the early 1800s. He was showing us all these pictures of people. He said, do they look like builders building all these buildings, or do they look like they're actually digging us out? So those buildings were already here and they were digging them out. Yeah, so they're lying about how old the buildings are, except those that got left. Of course, they've torn a lot down, especially in New York. Wait a minute, Astral. And so basically we're probably recovering from some big flood that happened in the early 1800s, and we are getting to where we are because of that flood. Why can't they tell us the truth?
Can I say something?
Go for it now.
Right, those paintings that we see, we need to question them as well. What about how genuine are they? What are they depicting, you know? Is it true what they're depicting? Or, I mean, what is it they're trying to propagate? It's like mainstream media nowadays. We don't believe shit they tell us. So when you look back in time at these paintings that have depicted, you know, events that have occurred, supposedly, it could be the same type of thing. We need to, you know, discern. We need to, you know, look into things a little bit deeper to find whether it's correct or incorrect, you know, because one or two paintings doesn't, well, I don't know. I mean, I babble a bit, I know, but I mean.
Hey, Astral, there was another bit put in there we were talking earlier on, was about Q.
About Q.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Q is starting to hit into the mainstream media, which is very funny. And one thing I would just like to say before you say anything, Rich, please. It's very, very, very unusual, I believe, that all of a sudden, practically the same day, Q is mentioned in, you know, on this TV channel and this TV channel, and another TV channel, in this newspaper, another newspaper, another newspaper. Up until then, there was practically nothing. But yeah, one day, it's just like all over the place. Something's going on there, you know. And I'm talking about, you know, the 4 o'clock, TikTok, mockingbirds.
Yeah, well, they're all making fun of it now because, and that's all been coordinated. In fact, Q has sent links to all the different hysterical hit pieces. What happened was people started showing up at the Trump rallies using with Q shirts on and holding up pictures and cutouts of Q and different things like that. And Trump started pointing them out. In fact, one he points directly to and does a thumbs up twice to him. And Q asked a good question. Why don't anybody in the media, why doesn't anyone in the media ask the question, is the Trump administration connected with Q? Now, someone did ask that at a White House briefing yesterday, I believe it was, and the question wasn't answered. She went off on the second part of his question. I don't even know if she heard the Q part. But it is funny that there is literally probably now over 1,000, and just in the last couple of days, 1,000 news articles written about QAnon and how it's this conspiracy theory that's crazy. They keep tying it to Pizzagate. And by the way, QAnon has never brought up Pizzagate, ever. but they keep saying
No.
it's connected.
And also, they always bring it up into a wrong Pizzagate. There is Pizzagate, but it's not connected to Q in that sense. That this is connected to other people. I'm sorry,
Right.
Dave. Carry on.
No problem. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's what they're doing. So here's my thing. If there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing there. If there's no ham sandwich, if there's no ham on the ham sandwich, why do you have 1,000 different articles in the last few days trying to show how crazy the conspiracy is with Q? See, it's reaching a point. We've actually had one major, there's been some minor ones, but one major sealed indictment out of the 50,000. The first one was just unsealed a couple days ago. And guess what? The guy was involved in pedophilia, among other things. And he was connected with government and things like that. So they know it's getting to the end. They're to the point now.
There are so many things that have happened that have been, prophesized on. I shouldn't say that word, but I mean, that have been predicted or whatever, or hinted at through Q, and they've come true. Many things.
Right, but
I think now it is starting, and I think, if I'm not incorrect, the reason why it started now is because now it's becoming interesting, and also they're scrambling. They're trying to hide this fact that this is something that's going on. There is definitely something going on, and when you say they're talking about it as a conspiracy theory, that's where they're struggling like nobody's business to try and make it out like it's all a crazy business. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is happening. It is happening.
Yeah, you have to be a nut to follow it, is their point, or to believe it. And to me, this is going to be, again, let me finish the point. The point is that if the media is doing thousands of articles or 1,000 articles on Q, why don't they ask someone in the Trump administration or Trump himself if it's all a LARP or fake or whatever? All they have to do is ask the question. And this is what QAnon's been saying. Why doesn't anyone ask the question? And the answer is because they don't want it to become mainstream and known to be true, because then there's so many things in there that implicate and condemn so many people. And if they know it's true, that's a whole different ballgame. They're going to get there anyway. Q says if nobody asks the question, eventually they're going to force the issue. They're going to, in other words, take somebody like a Sean Hannity or somebody and say, hey, ask us the question. We will answer. But to me, one of the greatest videos I'll be able to do with critical thinking will be, once this is known to be true, it'll be the perfect example video to show that if your emotions are involved in your thinking process, you're not thinking at all. And the people that don't want to believe this, that thinks it's all whatever, they've let their emotions lead their thinking. Same way with flat Earth versus the globe Earth. People hold on to the globe. Why? I have no idea. There's absolutely no evidence of curvature. Forget anything else. There's no evidence of any curve anywhere that anyone can show. Everything we show is showing flat, seeing something 60 miles away, 200 miles away, laser experiments. I'm talking about, just forget about everything else. Just the very fact that you cannot prove or show curvature. In fact, you can prove the opposite by all these experiments, to me, is just proof that people want to believe or lead their thoughts with their beliefs instead of logical thinking. So I can't wait for it to become true, because I'm going to turn it into a video to show that, hey, if you've been thinking with your emotions, like 9/11 people, they so want to believe the government, they cannot believe that buildings could fall like they did any other way than the government said. And a building 7 that the BBC reported fell 20 minutes before, that's not even a red flag for people. Wasn't hit, but yet it fell on its own footprint. And they reported 20 minutes before it fell that it fell. Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon. I was at the Pentagon the day after. No aircraft there.
I think what you're saying, Rich, is that people are being shown the truth and they still don't want to see it.
But then again, I need to say something as well that's come to light in things that I've been looking into. When you see, like, we call them false flags, when you see them, it's not necessarily what we see it as, a false flag in that sense. It could be a cover-up of something else that's taking part at the same time, a distraction, if you will. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think most are distractions. They want to change the news narrative.
I heard about something today, in fact. I'm not going to go into it, but it was exactly that. You know, something happened, false flag, red alert, blah, blah, blah. We were all on it. And as time progresses, you know, we learn more, we find more facts out. And the more facts we find out, the more knowledge we gain, the bigger the picture we have of things, you know. And it's that we need. We need to have not just a big picture, we need to have the entire picture. We need to see it all and hear all what's been said.
Is that going to happen? Can I just say before you go on, Rich, just to say that Joey has joined us, Joey Rocker.
Hey, Joey, how are you?
Awesome, brother. Listening in, love it.
So you have a nice little baby there.
Yeah, vaccine free and healthy as can be.
Hello,
Really?
Joey.
She survived.
Nice to see you.
She survived not having vaccines. That's amazing.
No polio. She's never been to the doctors, not even once. She was born at home, not even checkup, not even one single checkup. So it's all BS. Luckily, I found the flat earth just before she was born. So I was forced to look into all this stuff. Otherwise, brother, I would have vaccinated her twice just to be safe.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So everything, the flat earth saved me. I learned about crisis actors and all that good stuff. And it's just like, you know, wow, we got to unite and win.
Yeah, that's a good testimonial there. That kept your daughter's going to be healthier because of that.
That alone, I'm thankful for the flat earth. The friendships I've made, you know what I mean? All that different stuff. So, but that alone, man, she would have, because I know my personality and I used to be on the other side and I thought that they were preventing, preventing potential, problems, right? So you look into it and even the first vaccine that's given, the MMR vaccine, not only does it cause autism, but it's got herpes simplex in it, and all kinds of other nasty stuff. And it's like, whoa, our ancestors never did this. Autism occurred the same year that vaccines became mandated. It's just like, no. Luckily, I've got flat earth glasses now.
So where are you from, Joey?
He's in Hawaii.
Hawaii, wow.
Yeah, I'm from New Mexico, brother. Moved to California for college, and then I moved out here to Hawaii when I was 22. So about 18 years I've lived here in Hawaii.
Oh, okay, awesome. It's really early there.
Yeah, it's 10:30 in the morning here.
10:30, yeah.
All on the same day, though. We're all here together.
Yeah, Flat Earth family united.
Yeah,
I love
this is definitely good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah.
Mr. Thrive, by the way, brother, I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm always appreciative to have not only anybody outspoken I appreciate, but especially when you can bring a lot to the table knowledge-wise. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Usually you hear only the negative side of it.
Sun and Moon love you, Rich.
Oh, I appreciate that. I love Sun and Moon Group. It's fantastic. Well, you want me to show you a couple things? I really don't have that much, but and it was hastily put together. But I would like to show you a couple things that we can think about from my trip. So let me get rid of the link, and I'll share if that's okay.
Yep, you know what to do, don't you?
Yep. All righty. All right. Now, I've already done a video on this, but I want to do it one more time because it's going to be relevant, if anybody hasn't seen that, to what I'm about to show. This is just a picture looking at an airplane window. I didn't take this picture. This is part of my video, Jet Windows Out for Flat Earth and Globe Earth Proof. Not that it's not good for other stuff, but for angles up and down, it's not necessarily reliable, and I'll explain why. I put an image of the sun here setting, and here you are, let's say at 40,000 feet. The angle of the sun, if it's a globe, would be higher, so it would project the sun higher on the opposite side of the windows. And I'll show you that here. So if you have the sunlight coming in, let's say from this over here, if you can see my cursor, and the sun is below you, then it would cast the light higher on the opposite side. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where normally, let's say it's the middle of the day, the sun is above you, the light's coming in, it would cast the light down towards the floor the more you got towards the other side. Okay. So the argument was, or the thing was, and this was Khalid also, I think he showed a picture of this. I don't know if it was an animated picture or an actual picture, where the sunlight was coming in on this side and it was projecting the window on the other side. Let me see if I can get to that part where I actually have that. Higher up. And let me see if I can, there we go. Whoop, just missed it. Sort of like the square from the window. It's really a little bit more oval, but it casts it higher up. And that would be so-called a proof that the Earth was a ball because we're spinning away from the sun and would make it lower. Well, let me show you what I actually recorded. And this is a video, so it's not, I can't be doctoring this. Where the red line is where the actual windows are on the opposite side, on the starboard side of the plane here. And you can see the projection is actually higher from the sunlight coming from the other side over. And so you would think, oh, okay, this proves that we're living on a ball because the sun is lower, or not necessarily a ball. It would prove that the sun does actually set. Let me put it that way. It does actually get lower in the sky. And I think that's a possibility, actually. I haven't ruled that out. But here, it's clearly projecting higher than the windows, which are down here at this red line. Well, there's a problem with this. And the problem is when I swing over with the camera to the other side, this is what I saw at the window. It's like the sun is up here. We're on the ground, by the way. We haven't even taken off yet. And here's the sun up here in the sky. It's been up 2 or 3 hours in the sky. Here's the tip of the aircraft wing out the port side, out my side of the window. Maybe I'll just play this here.
Can I just ask you, what seat number is it? Because it could be a reflection off the wing.
Well,
the window.
Well, I cover that because you'll see. I'm actually right near the wing. The wing actually wasn't in a position where it was causing that. You can see that there's no sun reflection coming up. So I did do that as well. I looked at that, and as Khalid said, maybe he thought maybe it was coming from the pavement, but there's nothing bright. There's no water or anything. It wasn't raining, so there's nothing to show that it was reflecting up. So now getting back to the window itself, there's 2 panes. There's a thick glass on the outside, which obviously needs to be tolerated for different air pressures. And then there's an inner plexiglass, plastic type of window, if that's what you want to call it, that's on the inside. And you'll see that in some of my photos coming up. That's actually tilted itself. And I didn't realize that because I've never done experiments with it before, never really cared, but it's tilted quite a bit. When I held my phone, I have a theodolite app I got for this trip. When I tried to get it level to the window, I couldn't do it. I was like, what's wrong here? And then I realized the window was tilted. The way it was tilted was I had to make the bottom of my iPhone tilt towards me to make it level. So it was actually tilted away from me as it went down. So anyway, I just wanted to show that the distortion is so much on the windows themselves that it can't be trusted for like what you're going to see. Now here is I know this is hard to see because it's getting smaller and smaller. Let me make this big for a moment. Airbus A320 windshield distortion, flat Earth. It's a video where it shows that out the front of where the pilot looks out, his windows are accurate, but you can see even they are tilted out. And you can tell if you watch this video, I know that it's not going to be big enough here, but it actually looks like everything is going downhill and suddenly drops when you get to this right window. Well, that's differences in either the thickness of the window, the tilt of the windows, or both. But the bottom line is, unless you're in the pilot seat looking forward, you're going to get distortion. And this video shows it very well. In fact, it even shows sitting on the runway, these lines as they come towards you, you might even be able to see it here. It starts to to bend away from you as it moves. And as he turns here, you'll see the distortion even more. This is a straight white line that they paint. And I actually freeze it, and you can see how it bows out here. So even something just a few feet from the aircraft has distortion. So when you get into the experiments, and here's where we're going to get to where I'm talking about here, and you'll have to let me know if this is large enough. I hope it is. We're going to get to this, but geez, I hope I have it here. Hold on just a moment. Let me pull one of these photos off. Actually, I don't have it here. But anyway, I have a, let me get one just to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, hopefully this is big enough to see. This is this theodolite application. Is this visible at all? Is it big enough?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, yeah, I guess I can make it bigger. This is 39,142 feet elevation. And you'll see that it's tilted. This is because the plane wasn't level at this point. It was still climbing. But I've got the center of the crosshair almost perfect with the horizon. And there's only a 1.3 degree drop in the horizon at 39,000 feet. Now, to be fair, there are some that I took that were about 3 degrees. And believe it or not, some were 0 or even positive. So I don't know how to account for that. I do know that it was very difficult at times to know what was the real horizon, or was it distant clouds that were dark and made it look like a dark line. Only later was I able to compare pictures, what they call satellite pictures of cloud cover, to know if I was actually seeing clouds or not. But generally between 1 and 3 degrees is all I got, even up at 40,000 feet for a drop. But the point here was that it's not, you can't tell because there's distortion. It's not anything we can bank on, which is what I was hoping for. Now what I did do is, and I don't have that together yet because it's literally over 100 snapshots like this, I did track our latitude, longitude about every 7 to 10 minutes as we were heading east from Arizona. And this may not have been from, this may have been heading to Chicago. I can't remember where this picture is actually from, but it's just an example. But because it looks like we were heading west here at this point. So it's probably Albany to Chicago what this was taken, maybe. I don't know. But I should have enough evidence to show if we went into a great circle route or not. Although I believe maybe at one point we tried to avoid thunderstorms. So that's one thing I'm hoping to get out of this, at least, is the direction. I can pinpoint it on a map, all these latitudes and longitudes, to see what route we actually did take. We never dipped our nose, ever. Now, you'll notice here that this over here is showing an angle of -3.8, and it's true, it's not level, but this thing, if I had it in a video, and I do have it in a video, this thing goes up and down, up and down, up and down, even when I'm holding steady, even when I'm in an airport or just standing, even set it up inside a windowsill sitting still. To me, this is picking up magnetic variations, and I'll talk more about that as I do more data with that. But okay, enough. So the point there is we can't ever use these things, I don't believe, from an aircraft window to tell, like, let's say someone goes up to 40,000 feet and says, oh, there's a 6-degree drop or 8-degree drop in the horizon. It shows it's a ball. Well, I don't think we can tell either way. To me, this is pretty good evidence that the horizon comes up to us only 1 degree at 40,000 feet. And by the way, if you do believe in refraction, which I don't believe if you're looking horizontally, but here we're at 39,000 feet, looking out at a distance towards the surface. So you're going from much thinner atmosphere to much thicker. That would cause items to bend downward in the distance. Although I think there's negligible refraction that we ever see anywhere other than an actual mirage on the Earth, because we're not going from let's say, water to air or anything like that. We're staying with one medium. So any comments so far on that before I switch to the next thing?
It looks like you did a lot of making sure with all your coordinates and everything. That's good, brother. That's
I would just like to say refraction sounds much like distraction.
yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just distracting from the truth. But see, what we're doing is we're looking through two different panes of windows, so to speak. We're looking through plastic and we're looking through glass to see through an airplane window. And of course, you have the minor distortion you might get from a camera itself, from the phone. But I was disappointed in this because I really wanted to see, what this would show. And it, as I'm doing it, I realized from that first video I showed you, when the light was coming in higher than the window on the other side, and the sun was obviously above us. Well, I knew then it was way too much distortion to believe it. And I do understand that the greater the angle, the more the distortion, and the sun was like up here in the sky shining down to the window and then came up on the other side, which is what you would expect going through a thick glass at an angle. Using Snell's law, the greater the angle, the greater the refraction is going to be. So that kind of made sense. So anyway, let me go to this one for a second. I'm actually going to play this. Hopefully, me mute the audio. But this is jumpy and everything. But I definitely want you to see this. I did the video where Doppler radar, and of course, all of a sudden there's 5,000 Doppler radar and weather experts in the comment section who say that the Doppler radar is showing rain up to 69,000 feet. Well, it's so purely ignorant. It's laughable. First of all, once you get beyond 15, 20,000 feet, even at that point, depending on time of year, you're dealing with ice crystals. It's never going to be raining at 15 or 20,000 feet or above. It's just ice crystals. And anybody that can go out and look at the high thin clouds, the wispy clouds, they're called cirrus clouds, even alto cirrus clouds, which are at the middle levels. Those wispy clouds, they are not made of rain droplets. They're made of ice crystals. And so they're never raining on you. But this was taken at about 13,000 feet. And let me show this one first, actually. If I can find it. Let me just add it here. Now we'll see it. Okay. This is from my phone. I got this just as soon as we landed. This big blue dot is really where we landed. That's Baltimore Washington International Airport. Actually, the bottom left part of that. And I'm sorry I can't make this any bigger as far as maybe, you know what? I think I've got it over here. There we go. This W in Washington, just to the left of that, you'll see there's pretty strong thunderstorms right here, and they stretch up all the way west of this dot here, which is where we landed. We came in pretty much at this about 99 degrees, came in, and then we turned more north and landed. So we went through these showers and thunderstorms right here. We actually went through these. There's a darker layer here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a moderate shower. In fact, when it finally, we beat it to the airport. 10 minutes after we landed, it came. It was pretty much, it was a pretty good torrential downpour. But we flew through these. And going back to the other one now, if I can get it on. Going back to, we're going to get to the weights here in a second. Let me find what I need to find. Okay. I'm just going to play this. Like I said, it's jumpy, but we are at about 13,500 feet. And I have a theodolite image to prove where we were, our height, our direction of how we came in and things like that. But I'll stop it here. What I want to show is there's absolutely no rain on the window I'm looking out of, no rain on the wing at all. and we're at 13,000 feet. So these people don't want to say it rains up to 60-some thousand feet. That's the end of it. It's just a short clip. I knew from being a weatherman, and of course, I show all the way down, and I also go up some to show that we were totally obscured with clouds. Now, there are some patches above us where the sun does actually come through. You can see that a little bit, but absolutely no precipitation at that altitude. So these people that are experts to think that it rains at 13,000 feet when it's raining on the ground are just nuts. They're showing their amateur stuff. And anybody that has ever taken off, especially probably in the UK, you probably notice this a lot. You take off, there's rain on the window, rain on the wings, obviously, and it doesn't take long at all before everything's dry. You still might even be going through clouds, but everything dries off. And it's because it doesn't rain at these high altitudes. In fact, it's once you get just several thousand feet up, under certain circumstances, yes, it can rain at maybe 10,000 feet, rare. But, you know, these radar images I've shown of radar, and I've got one I haven't even shown yet, off of Cape Hatteras, which is another thing. Another expert, there is no radar station at Cape Hatteras. Well, in the video I'll be showing, I'll show the Cape Hatteras radar. It's just amazing, these ignorant, sudden experts that come to be. But it shows another thing. If you can see rain on radar, 265 miles.
I thought when you were saying that, if it was raining from much higher up, by the time it hit us, every raindrop would be like a little bomb. Boom, it'd hurt, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they would combine. You know, there's nothing to keep raindrops from combining.
Faster, wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, there is some exceptions. Yeah, but you know, the exceptions usually are in very severe thunderstorms where you get hail. Hail can be thrown up many thousands of feet and then drop again and get thrown up again in a violent updraft. But even that is not shown by Doppler radar. That's filtered out. Doppler radar only shows the lowest layer. And these people that just want to think with their emotions, they think they're experts. Here's the other idiotic comment. And I hate to even put it that way, but you know, when you've done something your whole life and you hear these comments and these people act like they're experts, satellite images, they show rain also. And all these other things that supposedly show rain, nothing shows rain except for Doppler radar. Satellites do not show rain. Whatever those satellites are, they show cloud cover only. Now, when you get to your local weather channel, they will mix the two signals together, so you get clouds and radar images together. They will do that. But when you ever see a Doppler radar image, like what I just showed, this right here, okay? Now, even on my phone, I can mix satellite image with this Doppler radar, and it'll show the clouds and rain together. But one is not reporting the other. Each one has its own specific job. But when you have a radar that can see 265 miles away, and when radar is line of sight only, there's no way the radar, it doesn't have intelligence. It doesn't go out and know to bend over 2 miles of curvature and then bend back over 2 miles of curvature to come back and report to the station. That's just sheer ignorance to believe that. But anyway, I just took this because it was perfect. I wish it would have been closer to the airport that I could have done this at even a lower altitude, but it just was. If we would have left maybe 20 minutes later, I would have been able to capture even at probably 2,000 feet. No rain at all, but yet raining on the ground. It's just the timing wasn't right. And I even mentioned that to a commenter. I said, go to the airport. Have you ever noticed at the airport, as soon as you take off, it doesn't take long at all. And the planes are only climbing roughly at 500 feet per second on average. 3 or 4 minutes into the flight, everything's dry, even if you're still in the clouds, even if it's still raining hundreds of miles around you in all directions. It's because you don't have that. Oh, the comment was, no, I noticed it rains the whole way up. It's like, you're a liar. Anyway, there's the evidence, and I'll combine that with the actual theodolite image that I took at the exact same moment. I took this video and then snapped the theodolite image, or vice versa. I think I did this one first. I knew I was in a thunderstorm or thunder shower when this was happening, and I knew under me it was raining. And then I took the radar image, and sure enough, it was. And it like I said, it caught us in about 10 minutes. So anyway, more proof that radar images are only showing you what's on the surface. And if they're showing you what's on the surface 265 miles away, then you got a flat earth, or you've got intelligent radar that goes out and says, oh, I need to bend here to get back to the radar station to report. And I'm sure some people might even believe that. All right. Now, the last thing that I did was, and this is very interesting, I've taken two weights, a 500-gram weight, which is here, and a silver weight. Let me see if I can find that. I've got these both in there's the 500-gram weight. And the reason why I did silver is because silver is not a non-ferrous material. It's not magnetic. Now, let me start this one by showing this. I've done this in videos where I've shown Arizona, both the weights. And I started noticing that each day I did it, there was some variation in the weight of both of them. And I've done videos to show where it'll be like 500.01 grams and it'll go all the way down to 499.87 and back up and down. Is that magnetic? Is that something else? I don't know. But what I did was I've done it in Arizona. I did it in Baltimore. I did it in New York, and I did it in Chicago. Now, I drew this orange line here to show, if you take this latitude line all the way across, it's roughly there. It's not perfect. But to show you there's much more difference between Arizona and Baltimore latitude than Baltimore and New York. It's much shorter distance. And Chicago is in between the two. Now, according to the global Earth theory, that it says that the centrifugal force will cause the weight to weigh less the more you get towards the equator and greater as you get up to the pole. Well, initially, that's pretty much what you get. Let me get Baltimore. Well, let me get Arizona if I got that. I've got it on here, but where is it? Pardon me just a moment. Let me see if I can find Arizona. Yeah, here's Arizona right here, I believe. The problem is my Hangout, my screen, the Hangout thing is covering my picture, so I can't. I'm pretty sure this is Phoenix right here. So the silver board, let me get to the...
We can see it. We can see it okay.
Okay. I couldn't verify at first that it was Phoenix. Actually, I don't... Yeah, okay. So as I'm going through this is actually a video. I'm going to play it. See how it changes? That's weird. This is actually Chicago. I'm sorry. This is Chicago. Phoenix had pretty much on the 500-gram weight. What I did was I calibrated it so it would be 500 even. But the next day I did it and it was like 499.87. So it varies. So the other thing is what else is varying? Barometric pressure, humidity, whatever, magnetic forces. I don't know. But okay, so I'm just going to stick with the 500-gram weight. I calibrated the machine here in Phoenix, and let's start with Baltimore. It weighed more, 500.60. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting an overlap here.
We can see it in the middle.
Let me take it off. There we go. I had too many things. There's Phoenix right there. 499.92 when I calibrated it to 500. So why did it go down to this on its own the next day? Nothing changed. Absolutely nothing. I took the weight off, placed it right next to it. There's a little plastic cover. I'll put it back on this, and that was it. Nothing else changed. And yet it went down 0.08 overnight.
Rich, I'd have to say barometric pressure, that's what's changed. Because in 3 different cities, 3 different temperatures, and you're going to get three different readings, obviously, you know. That's my own little take on it anyway. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I ended up coming to that conclusion also, but I also came to the conclusion, because what I was doing also, I was capturing the barometric pressure currently at wherever I was, the nearest reporting station. And I finally realized that was wrong, because all those barometric pressures are reduced to sea level. So what I need is actually raw barometric pressure readings, not reduced to sea level. And that's another thing too. When you think that through, what sea level are they reducing it to? Well, there's only one sea level. Otherwise, there is no standard. Now, when you look it up, it says mean sea level is all the different sea levels taken together and meshed into an average, which is totally bunk. You mean to tell me that they're taking New Zealand sea level and mixing that with the UK sea level and coming up with a medium in between? Well, if they're doing that, then these pilots that depend on their altitude indicator, which is based on your barometric pressure being reduced to sea level, and that's calibrated before they take off. That I know for sure. At least it is in the Navy. And it was very precise. We could not, they didn't want us to be 1/100th of an inch off. So when you hear barometric pressure 30.02 inches, if I gave them 30.01 instead of 0.02, well, that could mean the difference in fog, let's say, of them running into the back of the aircraft carrier versus not. I mean, maybe it's not that precise, but if you're telling me they're taking sea level from the North Pole to the South Pole and the equator and everything in between, and they're using that as an average for sea level, you know, to go by, well, then altitude indicators based on barometric pressure means absolutely nothing. They'd be crashing all over the place. You can't, it's another example of keeping us in the dark. But look up the definition of sea level. It'll say it's the mean or the average of sea level everywhere put together. It's crazy. But when I was thinking this through, let's go back to this picture here just for a second. Every barometric pressure I was getting from here to here to here to here was reduced to sea level. And it's got to be all the same level. Otherwise, a plane taking off from here and landing here, let's say it's foggy and they can't see and they got to go by instruments. Well, the sea level, you know, all you have to do is do the Earth current path calculator by distance, you know, in this case, north to south and east west. And it's probably, I don't know, several miles different in sea level. So, you know, if they have to use instruments, they crash all the time or totally miss their target.
Hey, Rich, it seems like they would need something like a space rocket or something. What's inside it to be able to maneuver across a ball moving and spinning and everything changing? We need to be in something much better than what we're in.
Well, I mean, think about it. They're flying, and for whatever reason, they can't see. They're in cloud cover. It's dark, and their instruments do not have a massive computer, because that's what it would take to constantly adjust for the sea level at their latitude and longitude.
Hey, I've got something else you might be interested in as well, just as you're talking about that. When I watched this whole thing about helicopters, remember I said I watched this thing in the UK, it was from the army. When this basic training they have, but in the middle of it, basically they put blinkers on them, and the only way they're allowed to fly the helicopter with an instructor with them is through the instruments. They're not allowed to look out of any of the windows. They can only look at the instruments, and they fly this thing through the instruments. So there you go.
Yeah, that's even more reason that if sea level is just a hodgepodge, a mixture of all of them averaged together, those helicopter pilots would be dead if they went any long distance at all, because there's no correlation or correction, I should say, for sea level at their latitude or longitude.
You also have to take into consideration that, you know, half of the flights that are taken at night time, you know, and it's pitch black.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, I've got something else as well, Rich. Not only is it spinning, don't forget the Earth is supposedly changing a bit on its axis during the seasons and everything, isn't it? So how do they cope with that? That's moving twice.
It's not spinning, is it? Is it?
Anyway, here's Phoenix. Let's just call it 500 even, because that's what it was calibrated to. I never changed the calibration. once I left Phoenix, or since Phoenix. Okay, here is Baltimore. And here's the latitude and longitude where I was. I don't mind showing this one because it wasn't my house. It was someplace I was staying. Anyway, it got a little heavier. And it got a little heavier. This call it 0.17 heavier because it was calibrated to 500. But go back to here. This was the biggest difference. This orange area here, that was by far the biggest difference, correct? In latitude, longitude for my other two. Well, watch what happens. So we go from 4992 or 500 to Baltimore, goes up 17. Let's just call it 20.2. Then I go to New York. Okay, and it's another 16 or 17 higher there. So it went up the exact same amount going to New York as it did. So it went up 0.17 roughly. All this distance, it went up 0.17. Then this little distance here, it went up another 0.17. The other thing I think we need to consider also, which is not on that one, but it's on this one, 275 feet above elevation, above sea level. Phoenix is like 1,300 feet where I'm at, above sea level. And so I got to correlate these also, these height above sea levels, because the higher you go, obviously the less air pressure you have above you, even assuming standard air pressure the whole time. Then we get to Chicago, which is, let's go back to here. This should be in between the two, and maybe it is. I put this together just real quickly before we came on. Here's Chicago. Okay, 500.56, way more at Chicago. Way more. And look at this. Chicago here should have been in between the two. It should have been very close to Baltimore. So anyway, I've got the theodolite images where we can actually look at the different altitudes and things like that, but it's not consistent is my point here. There's no way Chicago should have been more than New York because New York was higher up. Here it was where I was in New York. Here's Chicago. It should have been very close to Baltimore here.
Rich, can I just be little devil's advocate, kind of?
Yeah.
We don't know what shape or what orientation the Earth is in, apart from we know where north is. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know anyway. I've flown to America and I've flown to this country and that country, but I don't know what the shape of the Earth is or how it's orientated, And I'm just saying, like, you're north, south, that's fair enough. But I mean, in regards to, that what we was talking about, the orientation, we don't know anyway because still trying to figure things out, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I base this based on their latitude and longitude, based on the, because this should have been my heaviest reading should have been in New York, but my heaviest reading ended up being in Chicago by far. So I got to really take a look at what my altitude was here and different things like that. So something is not right. It's not right to say, okay, the more north you head, the heavier something will weigh, because that obviously was proven. It was proven true until I got to Chicago. But even the proven true wasn't right. It was basically 0.17 grams to go all this distance, and then another 0.17 to go a shorter distance, and then right in closer to actually to Baltimore than this one, it was much heavier than the others combined. Now, I have the theory about that too.
Sorry, brother. Can I just say, if you was to overlay like a compass, so we could see like which direction those lines are in relation to, north or whatever, then we could see like, well, in a different light, if you know what I mean. I'm just playing now.
Let me.
Rich
I can do that.
Hey.
If I can spell right.
This is live research.
Earth.google.com. We'll see. Well, see, I've got the latitude and longitudes on the theodolite. So that's telling me also.
Yeah, there's a question in the
north?
chat, Karen. I just want to say, Joe Mama, right? And I thought this as well, actually. It's funny that you mentioned this. I thought this exactly tonight as well. Doesn't standard air pressure indicate we live in some kind of a closed system, like a dome? How would altimeters even work if we didn't live in a closed system? You know, and I thought that too, like, you know, to have an air pressure, you need to have something to press against, obviously, don't you? Otherwise, it's not working. So when they say, like, there's a vacuum in space and there is no, you know, how does that work? You understand? If there's anyone new to flat Earth and what have you, you know, think about this. Air pressure on Earth against no pressure of space. Where's the dividing line? That's why there must be some sort of a dome. So anyway, good, Joe Mama. Thank you. Use the flow.
Yeah, and just like the Big Bang Theory violates the second law of thermodynamics, I think it's Boyle's law with it's Boyle's law with the air pressure. Air pressure always moves from higher to lower pressure, so air should constantly be moving upward. But then they'll say, well, gravity pulls it down. So I mean, they always have an excuse, an emotional reason why something won't work. But that's Boyle's law. Boyle's law says high pressure moves to low. Air pressure moves from higher to lower pressure, and much less differences from the vacuum of space than the surface of the Earth. We have high and low pressure systems where that's demonstrated all day long with much less force.
I was kind of laughing here. Someone in the chat wrote, "Gravity creates air pressure. Duh. Get educated." Well, I'd love to know how the flat that works. Then gravity creates air pressure. That's it.
So what you're saying is, if you took a
He's now put gravity must be selective.
well, that means if you took a air canister, what do the divers wear? I'm hearing static.
So it's flat Earth dude. Hi, flat Earth dude.
Anyway, that means like when they took those air canisters to the moon. So when they were in the void of space with no gravity, there was no air pressure inside those tanks. The pressure went to zero. I mean, that's not thinking. Gravity and air pressure are not the same. I mean, they're not related even. Air pressure is air pressure. It's molecules moving away, wanting to move away from one another. So what you're saying is a scuba diver, that's it. A scuba tank in space would have no air pressure because there's no gravity. So, I mean, come on. I mean, anyway, here you go. This is oriented north-south right now. And here's Chicago. Here's Baltimore, slightly farther south. Here was where I was near Albany, New York. So you have a nice little triangle there. And then Phoenix is way down here. So, yeah, it's Chicago is in between the latitude, longitude. I don't know how to get the latitude, longitude lines to show on here. Maybe I can get it to do it. But I think you should be able to see that.
I think, Rich, if you have like a smartphone and you put, you know, a weather thing in, it usually tells you there like what where you are, basically. Lat, long.
Yeah, well, my theodolite, what I was showing you, those pictures, that showed it the whole time, even when I was flying.
Right.
We'll find it here. There we go.
Hey, flat Earth dude.
Hey, I got it.
How's it going?
Hello, my darling.
Hey, I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Good to see you.
We're
Good to see you too, Rich. Good information,
doing good.
man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, here we go, Astral.
There we go. That looks
So we
good.
got Chicago is, actually I can draw on this. Yay.
It's about 42 in there.
Chicago is like, that's Chicago. That's Baltimore. That's Albany, New York.
Where's Chicago?
And that's Phoenix. Well, Phoenix isn't good. Phoenix is more here. Chicago here.
I thought it was on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, here's the lake right here. It comes right down to it.
Oh, it's not painted white.
And I was a little bit north of Chicago. O'Hare International Airport is north, or ORD is where I was.
Yeah. Do you know
Here's
do you know why it's called ORD? I will tell you. It's named after orchard.
Yeah, I don't like these things being named after stuff. Like the VA Medical Center here is called Carl T. Hayden VA Medical Center. So if you're looking for it, if you give me directions to the VA Medical Center Phoenix, a lot of times I won't find it unless you know the name Carl T. Hayden. So what we have is now we can draw the line all the way across. So let me do that so you can see. I'm going to have to grab the other one because they're assuming it's a ball, which is fine. There we go. Jeez. Nothing like paint. It's so professional. There we go. So here's the differences in latitude with the three different ones. First one was this much difference. So let's pull that over here. Second one was this much difference. And the third one was from here to here, so it's roughly there to there. That much difference. And Chicago right here was by far, I mean, not even close, by far the heaviest weight. Now, I have a theory as to why. And I think it has to do with, if I take a circle here and draw it on here, and I could be wrong, but this is my initial thoughts, that up in here is where all the magnetic rock is in Canada. This is why the compasses need to have these 10-degree corrections, or even more if you're out here where I am. And when you get out here, you hardly have any correction, if any at all, to your compass. It's true. So when you get closer to a magnetic point, does that make it heavier? That would also hold true here. So anyway, just something to look at. I didn't even notice, to be honest, until just when I was doing this program, that Chicago was the heaviest. I hadn't pulled them off my phone yet. So if I would have just taken these 3 points here, I would have said, yeah, there's a correlation that we need to look at, but maybe this will show it better. Let me change this. Still too big. There we go. So going from Phoenix to Baltimore, this much different in latitude. This first red line caused 17 points different. This second one here also caused 17 points different. But it's a shorter distance. Now we went from, I don't know what we went from, but I had to go back and look at it. But it was, what was it, 500.65? So from here to Chicago was 0.65 difference. 34. So almost, let's call it 25 points. This last one 25 points difference. And look at the difference in the how much latitude difference it was. So there's definitely not a correlation between Earth's spin and the weight of objects. There's some other correlation that we need to figure out what it is. I mean, because if it was Earth's spin and that was the reason, it should be consistent. Phoenix should have been the heaviest. I mean, sorry, the lightest. Baltimore would have been a little bit heavier. Well, relatively speaking, a lot heavier. Chicago, a little bit heavier than Baltimore, and New York, a little bit heavier than Chicago. But that's not what we saw. Now, if I only took the first 3 data points, though, I might have been convinced. So anyway, any thoughts on that? That's pretty much my presentation. I'll stop sharing. That's just the raw data, what I've come up with so far. I can get back to stop sharing.
That was interesting, that, Rich. Kind of cool.
Yeah, food for thought there.
I would love to see though how if those lines were orientated with, like, you know, true north or, you know, magnetic north, whatever it is, to see what results you get from that, you know, just to see.
Yeah. Like I said, I just now, in fact, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to look up where the magnetic declination is across the country and see if there's any correlation there. That's just off the top of my head. None of this could be true. It's just what I'm thinking out loud.
This is different to what you thought they were going to be, Rich.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, at first I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this. Interesting. Near Chicago, there's a green line that goes through on the magnetic declination. I don't know what that. Oh, near Chicago, it's 0 degrees declination. Interesting. And guess what? Just east of the UK is another 0 degree declination. I wonder if these weights are more correlated to magnetics than anything else. Anyway.
Hey, what if you was to mirror that? If you was to make those 2 lines there, I can't see what you're seeing. I'm only thinking what I've got some in my head now. You've got 2 points there, one in America and one in Europe, okay? And where would they point to, you said? They're pointing to north. So that would make like a kind of a, well, half a triangle, wouldn't it? Or 2 sides of a triangle, you know, left side, right side of a triangle. Is that not what you're saying?
Could be. Let me actually, I'm going to screen share again and show you what I'm looking at.
Yeah, show me what, yeah. Just, I've got some in my head here.
This is something where it's more like an artistic type of thing. So other people is better looking at it than me.
Hey, Fly Earth Dude, are you there?
Flat Earth Dude.
Flat Earth Dude.
I think he's in his
Earth is flat.
He's in his Tesla car, maybe circling the Earth.
I sent him a picture today. I was driving, and as I went into the garage, because you know it's a pit stop garage where there's loads of people eating and that. But these German people came in, and their number plate said "dude" on it, even though it's from Germany. Dude.
Yeah, they must have been from Dusseldorf, because if a number plate.
I sent him a picture of it.
I think they're from Dusseldorf. You know, like in
Probably,
I think in the UK you've got like.
Yeah, or whatever it said. There was a number next to it, but I sent him a picture of it.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen, Astral?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there's a green line here. It's actually just west of Chicago's right here, and here's the green line just west of it. But there's also a green line that goes just east of the UK, cuts through northeastern Spain, northwestern France.
I can't see where your cursor is.
But
I can see a green line anyway, a thick green line going from north to south through America.
Yeah, that's just west of Chicago.
He's talking about the UK one. There's one over the UK as well.
Yeah, just off your southeast coast.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
but I wonder if these weights are affected. Like if we did the weight in Louisiana, which is down in the southern Gulf Coast where the zero line is, and did it in North Dakota, I wonder if anywhere along this line on the same latitude would give us the same result. That's just thinking out loud. I don't know.
Well, it's worth a fun attempt, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
if people are willing to do it, then why not? You know, and yeah, for sure, getting into contact with somebody like, you know, some of us.
So these are every 2 degrees, it looks like. So if Phoenix is about 12 degrees in the red, so I guess that's minus 12 degrees declination. So I wonder if my weight would weigh the same as someone in a minus 12 over here in Europe somewhere or elsewhere. Down here, Southeast Australia, there's a minus 12. This is maybe things that, yeah, like you said, these might be interesting things to try out.
Yeah, but that's another aspect. How do you get the true weight of a weight? Or how do you get the true, you know, okay, 1 kilo should weigh a kilo. But like you're saying now, does 1 kilo weigh 1 kilo in Texas as it does in, you know, LA, Alberta, Madrid, or Paris,
Well,
you know?
you know, this all came really from the weights and standards, I believe, in London, where they measure gold and they say at this latitude, this brick right here is whatever, 1 ounce of gold. And if you're at the equator, you need to adjust plus or minus whatever for it to be the same.
Yeah,
But
don't they say like 1 liter of water weighs 1 kilo, 1 kilogram?
that would be even better water because it's not,
Oh, it's
especially
universal, isn't it?
if it's distilled. Yeah, if it's distilled, especially, there's not going to be a magnetic component in it.
No, true. That would be a good thought, actually. You know, a liter of water ought to weigh 1 kilo, if that's correct. I don't think
And
I'm wrong there.
but according to the spinning globe, it should weigh more at the equator than it does at the pole, or the reverse. Should weigh more at the pole than it does at the equator. But as we've just found out, if I just bought a 1 ounce gold coin, let's say in the UK, they just measured it out for me, or let's say they measured out enough grams of gold till it was exactly 1 troy ounce, and I took it to Chicago, it would weigh different. It would weigh more than it would in Baltimore, and that's the opposite of what we should expect. I don't know. It's weird. It just didn't hold. It didn't hold water, so to speak.
No, but then if you think like now I'm thinking about flat Earth. So if we're on a flat plane, there shouldn't be any difference whatsoever anywhere, because if we're flat and stationary, well, it's like a massive table, isn't it? And if you put your weight on the left corner of a table, or the middle, or the bottom middle, or whatever, you know, there shouldn't be any difference. That weight should weigh the same, regardless of where it's placed. And that's what I'm thinking. If we're living on a flat stationary plane, weights should weigh the same everywhere, regardless of where you are, apart from, of course, you know, altitude. You know, Mount Everest, top of that would weigh different than if you're down in the Dead Sea, you know, just on the beachfront or whatever.
Yeah, and people will discount air pressure, but think about it. Standard air pressure roughly is 15 pounds per square inch of pressure. 15 pounds. We don't notice the difference because our bodies are compensated for it. We have the same amount of air pressure in us as that, you know, without. But that's a lot of pressure. And if it changes, let's say by an inch, which is about the most, well, let me think about this. The greatest differences in earth pressure on the surface, you can have a standard pressure is 29.96 inches of mercury. You can just round that off to 30 inches. Now, in the strongest hurricane, you might get down to 29.0, maybe even 28.89, something like that. But that's about the lowest extreme, other than a tornado being right over your head. On the other extreme high pressure, usually in the very northern parts in winter, we'll get up to maybe 31 inches of mercury. So we have a 2-inch variation in pressure and that's it. So if you, it's not that much difference, but I don't know. It's just, I'm just trying to think out loud. Air pressure shouldn't have that much. I would think magnetics would have more. Here's the problem. My scale was made out of metal. So, you know, even the springs in there, are they more liable to be, you know, susceptible to weight on top if there's more magnetics around it? I don't know.
Yeah, and also this is a big factor. If you live by the sea, the salt air affects like metal big time. You know that, don't you? If you live close to the sea, then you can't have like, you know, you need to have zinc and stainless steel. It just gets it's buggered, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not good.
No, yeah. So I'm just taking that factor into consideration that, you know, you have to have brand new equipment and, you know, test it one time, because once you're out there and it's in the sea air, it's getting deteriorated by the second. And I'm not joking, by the second it is, because it's in the air, isn't it, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you know, when you put certain things in the air too, it becomes less or more dense also. For example, when it's cloudy or foggy, when it's foggy, the air is less dense. People think it's the other way. It feels thicker, but it's less dense. So it's not always intuitive either.
And that's why the clouds fall down, don't they?
Well, what most people don't realize is fog, for example, is just a cloud that's touching the ground. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. Yeah. They're falling down. That's I love that time of year actually, and it happens quite a lot here in Denmark. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something to do with the size of the country, how much CO2 we produce compared to how cold it is because of our, you know, where we are laterally. And I think it's something to do with that cold air that's falling down, because I see it so many times, especially in the winter time, you know, come autumn, you know, late, well, September, October, November, definitely, early in the morning, especially when the sun's just starting to come through. You see all these, I need to start taking photographs because I've never done it, and I see the beauty of it all the time, you know, especially, I want to say this time of year, not now, but the time of year when it comes, like, you know, I will do that, I will.
Yeah,
It's
that's
awesome.
just you must be near water.
It's a strange thing. I am aware that it's the clouds falling down, but people don't see that. They think, no, it's just like, you know, it's dew kind of, you know, it's like, oh, it's a bit foggy. They don't understand fog. It's clouds falling down, you know.
Yeah.
It's because there's no pressure and there's nothing to hold them up. There's nothing to do with gravity, because gravity is schmavity. It's like, you know, doesn't exist.
Fog is clouds on the ground.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a special, it is special, like, you know, especially walking through them. And I mean, if people haven't done it, do it, you know, because it's like kind of unique. It's not every day you get to walk in the clouds, is it? If you understand what I'm saying. Try it. Get up early in the morning and you see so many different things that you see early in the morning before people are awake, you know. Get up
I've got
and go out.
something else to add, by the way. Sorry, Astral.
No, you're fine.
What this might be a really stupid thing to say, but what about some of these places had more barium in them, more chemtrails, and others don't? Maybe would that affect it?
Who knows? I wish we knew everything they were dumping out on us. It could. Yeah, I mean that's you know, if especially I would think
Yeah, but I remember as a kid, sorry to interrupt you, Karen. I remember as a kid going through the forest, the fields and what have you, and seeing like these clouds that have fallen down and going through the fog, you know, as a kid. You must have done it.
We've all, well, in the UK, if we've been to Snowdon in Wales, you probably had to go for a bit of cloud to get there. So, but people accept it then that that's going through cloud because it's slightly off the ground, isn't it? Up the mountain.
yeah, they'll accept that. But yeah, specifically fog is a stratus cloud that touches the ground. That's it. Once it touches, technically what you see on a mountain is fog at the mountain. Although if you're distant from it and see it above the ground, then it's just a cloud. But yeah, you can call it, if it touches the ground, you can call it fog. In fact, that's what it is. But it can actually form bottom up also.
We've said this before, Rich, or on other hangouts probably, but I remember as a kid, it just felt like the clouds were, maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time the clouds were higher. And it was only when one day I was watching Stan Smith's 360 and I realised that the camera was on the roof and the clouds looked like they just basically went over his roof. And actually the clouds were that low. They weren't even, you know, you look up and you think, is that half a mile up, mile up? No, they're not even that high up.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Sometimes. Maybe sometimes they are, but a lot of the time it can be much lower. I just wanted to, sometimes I thought, is it that they want the clouds to hit the ground or something? Is that what they're trying to do? So that means we would always be living in fog.
Yeah, we wouldn't like that, would we?
But on the other hand, we've had really nice weather since about the end of May. So that's completely different to everything that it's just saying. But anyway, carry on, Rich.
Am I still screen sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. You see this right here? Celebrate Truth did this. And I don't see a link. Maybe it's here.
Is that magnet thing?
It's based on magnetics, but I'll
It's a
just
generator, isn't it? It spins backwards or counterclock.
Well, what they did was they looked at I've been talking about forever that we don't see the sun directly. And my biggest proof is that, and they even question the fact that we always say the sun is over the tropics, but is it really? And since I really believe we see a reflection of the sun, it doesn't have to be over the tropics. It just could be more direct there. But this is the proof that I've always gone to right here. No matter where you stand on the earth, flat earth or globe, it doesn't matter. Let me go back to this, though, because it shows it. You have somebody standing at the poles here, and then you have other people all the way down to Antarctica or the ice ring, whatever you want to call it. On the equinox dates, each one of these people sees the sun rise at due east, 090 degrees, give or take a degree or two. So how is that possible? It's not possible on a globe, and it's not possible on a flat earth either. It's possible, though, if we're seeing the sun through a reflection of the sun. We don't see the source. We see a reflection of the source.
It's almost like you're seeing it individually.
Yes, each person sees his own sun. That's exactly right. And that's what that is the only way I can explain that is looking at a reflection, because the reflection follows the whole way. They also show, which is brilliant, how the sun does not move in a straight line over us. It moves in a curve. And that curve, they showed different time lapses here, will change depending on what time of year it is. Also, which has been what has been in front of us the whole time with the analemma, if I can get it on here. Come on. I see it, but oh, here's the analemma. The analemma shows the sun changes speeds. This is another way to represent the analemma. Changes speeds different time of year. In fact, if you look at the analemma, I don't know why I can't get that on here. There it is. It even, let me see if this one actually shows it. It'll say fast sun, slow sun. Like when it's on one side of, it'll be faster than slow. Where you can see there's a greater density of dots here and over here than in between here. The sun speeds up and slows down. There's no, I mean, and the analemma shows it. Absolutely no doubt about it. And let me do it another way. From about this time or later, at the end of August, let's say, to, let's call it November, the sun will race south in your sky. I mean, it'll change like a degree or two every day or every other day. But when it gets to winter, it'll be the same spot in this, and it'll take another 60 days to change 1 degree in the sky.
And that, if you think about it, that tells you about perspective. When you look at something, it's like immediately when it's right beside you, it's fast. The further it gets away, the slower it becomes, until eventually it's like almost, it ain't moving, even though it's just It is. It's just, it's at that point of, you know, the point of the arrow all the way at the end of the perspective, you know, point of view.
Right. And it's not even, look at this. Here's the southern solstice, this little green dot here. See how close it is to the middle point? But look at the northern solstice. It's way off over here. It's not even close to symmetrical. It just really isn't. And if you think that this larger circle here and this smaller circle here are only 3% different, then you need to go back and study some math and perspective. This is a huge difference. So what the argument is, well, we don't have an elliptical orbit. I mean, we don't have a circular orbit. It's elliptical. Well, yeah, okay. If you want to go by that stupid model, there's a 3% difference. 3% difference from its extreme points. So if you think this is only 3% difference, then, you know, there's plenty of things I'd like to sell you that I can't sell to anybody else, if you want to believe stuff like that. So this right here, and this is one of the earliest things in Flat Earth that I looked at and said, whoa, something is wrong with the globe Earth model, because it's not symmetrical, not even close, and not close to the 3. See, and they can't say it's more than a 3% variance, because then they end up with a whole lot of other problems. But it's stuff I didn't understand at first. It's like this 24 hours. Our clocks are based on a 24-hour exact clock, not 1 second off, not 1/100th of a second off. 24 hours later, to the split second, the sun will be in the exact same position in the sky as it was before, as far as like its highest point above you at noon. And so then when you do that 6 months later, the sun, you know, it should be noon at midnight, because of the sun's, you know, the Earth has traveled to the other side of the sun. Well, they confused it by saying, no, that has to do with the sidereal day is only 23 hours, 56 minutes, and so many seconds. Well, that's based on the stars, and the stars only, has zero to do with the sun. So it would be, I mean, I wish I understood this back then when I first did those videos. I might have to redo those videos, because I understand it so much more now. That was thrown in for confusion.
I was going to say, Rich, it's good to go over old works, look at old videos, read old papers again, because when you've been looking into this, you know, flat Earth and all aspects of flat Earth and what have you, you know, when you look into it, we forget so much. It's good to go over things that we saw in the beginning, you know, to refresh us, and also to put us on new paths, you know. And that's what I find. I always find I'm like, oh man, now I'm going down another direction, or whatever, you know. I never thought of that aspect, you know. And I look
Absolutely.
at things in a different way. So yeah, look again, always look again.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Like I said, I look back at this, I was like, oh, I wish I understood this the way I do now. I could explain it much better. And the lie, I mean, we would actually have a midnight 12 noon. It's just the way it is. There's no way around it. You can't throw in the sidereal day. Okay, so all right, fine. The stars rotate 4 minutes every night slower or faster, whatever it is. That's fine for the stars, but that's not fine for the sun. And when you look at it, you do go to sunandmoon.com, or no, I'm sorry, dateandtime.com, and look at that, or it's timeanddate.com, sorry. Every day, 24 hours later to the second, is high noon. And that can't be explained with us going from one side of the sun to the other in 6 months. The stars, yes, they can explain that, but not the sun. But they try to mesh the two together to confuse you. And like I said, I wish I would have known that then. What they did here, though, was this is a must watch. I'm going to post the link to it on a video. They talk about the perspective of seeing the crepuscular rays, and how you couldn't see it if you were on the other side. And that's kind of a hard concept to pick up, because each person has its own individual perspective of the sun. But they did a good job tying it in with this. Like, you could never go to the other side of a rainbow and see it from the back side. Same thing with the crepuscular rays. You can never get to the other side. So each person, like a person that's half a mile to the left of this person's vantage point, would see this rainbow differently. It's all unique. But anyway, they did a fantastic job of taking all the data from actual where the sun is from different places in the earth. And it comes up to this. I can't remember what they called it, toroidal shape or something like that. I'm probably not doing it justice, but it's a fantastic video. And from this, when they get more data and compile it, and they said it took a lot for a very powerful machine to do. It couldn't do it at first to model all of this, but they're going to come up with, it's a magnetic. We live in a magnetic flat Earth, and they're calling this a flat Earth model. I don't know if this was Robbie Davidson's title, but it's not a model of the flat Earth. It's a model of how the sun works around the flat Earth. And with that, with observations from each person on the Earth, we were just looking at the magnetic fields. That is going to have some influence on how you see the sun. And that's what this shows. Anyway, I won't damage this video anymore by not doing it justice. But find this. It's on Celebrate Truth's site. And when was this published? September 1st, 2017. Did FE Core prove the real flat Earth model? And like I said, I don't think this is named correctly, but I'm going to find out where it is. I've been trying to get a hold of Dr. Zach. He said he sent me something, but I haven't gotten it. So I wanted to talk to him about the star model. I think I have an idea how that works, how the stars go around the Earth. But anyway, I'll shut up and stop screen sharing. There we go. So anyway, that's my input today, for what it's worth.
Oh, I couldn't unmute myself. You don't go on and on. It's really great that you do this, and thank you very much for being
cool,
the researcher you are, Rich. We love you. You're an amazing man.
Oh, thanks. You do me too much justice.
Yeah, but you're still recovering, aren't you? And there's all that. So, and you're amazing. So, don't think any less.
Okay, if you say so, Karen.
All right, well,
Yeah,
all right.
I'd say so.
I don't know about amazing, man. I don't know.
No, amazing is grace.
You're graceful, man. That was
sweet.
Interesting. What do you call that figure 8 thing again?
Analema.
Analema.
Yeah, ANALLEMA, I believe.
One M.
Analema. That's the
One M, I believe.
That's the path the sun takes every year, right?
Moon as well.
Yeah, and the moon has the same pattern.
Exactly. I have a little icon actually that I pinched from somebody that's got that. It looks very good.
And they're the exact same size, the moon and the sun.
Yep.
Hey, can I just say something? Dude, are you in the car now?
Of course, I know. I'm driving.
Yeah, just tell Rich where you're off to.
I'm off to Flat Earth meetup, and they're shooting a documentary kind of insight on Flat Earth. Is Shane Dawson, you maybe heard of him. He did that interview. He interviewed his brother, who's kind of a flat earther.
No, I don't know it.
Has 17 million views, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge. Shane's got 15 million subscribers. And they did Flat Earth justice. It was about 5 months ago, the interview. Or it was posted 5 months ago. And a lot of really good positive. There's 212,000 comments. So it was a pretty big deal. So his brother has a channel called Doubt Me. 2 words, Doubt Me. And he's got about 110,000 subscribers. He does some weird stuff. They go out and interview people, but he's pretty good flat earther. He knows all the good theories, and he doesn't put out any junk or anything. But he's flying in Mark Sargent, Patricia Steers, David Weiss, and they put together a Flat Earth meetup. And I'm going to go up there and do a live stream with Karen in a couple of hours.
Going to.
About 2 hours.
We're going to. Yeah.
And
so it's in the UK?
It's at a park here in California. near
Rich, Flat Earth
Los
Dude's
Angeles.
going to stream it. Sorry, he can't. Sorry, Flat Earth Dude. One sec. Flat Earth Dude is going to stream it through his camera. You know, we're going to stream it through his camera. So that's how we'll be there.
Right. And I'm going to interview people and talk to them and get them to talk to Karen and whoever else is on the panel. I don't know. We don't know for sure. Astro will be there for sure.
I'll be awake.
So,
I'll be awake. I'm awake.
and we'll be talking to a whole bunch of flat earthers today, and maybe we'll get some new theories about the Analema or something. I don't know.
What is Shane's channel
Shane, it's
name?
just SHANE, I think is the name of it.
Okay. Can't believe I've never. I've heard the name, but I can't remember.
He was
I can't.
A musician, Rich. He was a musician. The song was called something douchebag. My daughter liked it. You know, he had a great little video with it, and he became quite famous. And now he's on YouTube and stuff like that. That's Shane Dawson.
Gotcha. Okay, I found him now. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 5 months ago. He does like a 30-minute show, I guess. It's somewhere in the like middle of the show. And
Hey Rich, I'm inviting you. I know that you're a very busy man and you've been on this hangout, but if you want to join us later because we're at this thing, come back. No pressure.
Okay. I'll be gone at least an hour and a half or so for my appointment, but we'll see.
If you can, join us.
Yeah, if you can. We're not going to start. It doesn't start until 5 o'clock, and then it goes till 8. So it'll be about a 3-hour stream ish. So you pop in, say hi to a few people. I don't know.
Okay.
That would be great.
Are you hosting it?
No, this lady named Netta. She does this. That's what she does. She hosts these things. She puts it together. I'm just going to interview people and hang out. And you know, have you ever been to a Flat Earth meetup there, Rich?
Yeah, I went to the Flat Earth convention in North Carolina.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to the one. I'm going to the one this year in Colorado.
Oh, excellent! You go to the big ones. I don't know if I'll make it to Colorado, but I'll try. I might. I got a family cabin. I don't know, a few hours from Denver, so maybe I'll think about it. We'll see when the time comes.
Okay.
I don't know. It might be sold out. I don't know. Is it sold out?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in November. I think it's around November 12th or something like that.
All right. Cool, man. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I just found out I can fly there for $39. I'm not speaking there, but I'm going to be doing a workshop of some sort.
Okay. On the Analema?
We'll see. Hey, I just found out that the lunar Analema matches, which it should not.
Right.
They should be totally different since we supposedly go around one and the other goes around us.
You know, I knew that pattern that the sun made, and I've known that for a long time. I never knew what it was called. Thank you for educating me on that. That's not something that gets talked about much in our circle of flat earthers, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. I'd like to get maybe put that file. You said you put that file in the back chat. That would be great.
I put a file in the back chat.
Can you put that file in the back chat?
That was a video. Yeah, I can.
Video. Okay.
It's in a video. You can just search that term and see hundreds of them will come up in Google Images.
All right.
But yeah, that's a good idea. I'll drop that in the back chat, that video, and then Karen might be. She can put it in the regular chat too if people want to see it. That
Okay,
video
yeah,
is worth watching, and for whatever
Yeah.
reason, stuff like that just doesn't seem to propagate far in the flat Earth community. And to me, that's very important stuff.
Exactly. That's
Like
something that we should be discussing for a couple of months and really get down on it, especially the changing speeds like that. That's should not
Oh
happen.
yeah, no, it shouldn't. To me, it's a great proof that the NASA model's wrong.
Exactly.
is this for anybody to see, Rich?
What's that?
This is for everybody. I can put this link out in the chat room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's to
absolutely. Yeah.
And that, you know, he mirrored that in September of 2017, and this is the first I came across it. And to me, it's brilliant. It really is brilliant.
It is brilliant. I was driving and looking at it going, wait a minute. Looks really good. I want to look at that for a while.
Yeah, well, I've always argued too that you know, if they want to say show working models, like your model doesn't work. The globe. How can you see this? How can you see the sun from pole to pole at 090 degrees on the equinox dates? Now, if the sun was if it took up the whole sky, the whole eastern horizon, yeah, but it takes up what 4 degrees of arc or something like that. So no, sorry. Try again. Play again. Neither model, you know, the flat Earth model doesn't work with that, and neither does the globe model. If you insist that we see the sun directly.
Wow.
Now, if you realize that you're only going to see sun devils or sun dogs rather, and rainbows, and the sun at 090 at sunrise and 270 at sunset on equinox dates, and a few other things that clearly, to me, point that we see a reflection of the sun, and only. Once you realize that, well, NASA's model's gone, absolutely shot to hell right there, because they have nothing like that. Yes. So it's just a matter of how do we make it work on the flat Earth?
We're getting close, man. There's some great minds like yours and a few others that are just really beating it into the ground, man. I love it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for
everybody's doing their little piece, and it's going to come together soon, man. I have a feeling.
Yeah, it is growing faster than I thought it was going to grow. Actually, already, flat Earth.
It's shocking, man. Yeah, they're taking major notice, man, which is good.
Wake up, everybody, please. Wake up.
So they, I heard a friend of mine, Dan the Waterman, he read an article from WordPress. Somebody wrote, if you can go search it, Flat Earth, something, WordPress, I don't know, I'm not sure, but. And they might make Flat Earth it would be like talking about, it might make it illegal almost to talk about it. They're going to try to pull that one.
Yeah, censorship, right?
That's scary.
It's funny, all the
100% censorship.
Yeah, all the things that
but they're not.
You okay there, Flat Earth dude?
I'm good. I think, did we lose Rich?
No, I'm here.
No, we're all here.
Okay. I'm driving, so I might have a signal interference. Switching towers, switching to ground-based towers.
I was just going to say that all the things that they want to censor and get rid of, if there's nothing to it, why bother? So the more they want to censor something, the more they want to hide something, or like you said, try to make it illegal to talk about. I mean, there's people that are getting arrested for talking about their state constitution or talking about the U.S. Constitution. It's getting really bad. The extremes are getting more extreme, especially.
Who's playing around with a lighter that they can't light? Can I just say something, Rich? I don't know if you've heard. They're trying to stop any kind of talk about flat Earth, and they're going to try and label it as fake news. I mean, come on. You talk about shit in the pants. I mean, wow. We are talking serious stuff now, right? Aren't we? We're not joking. We're not pathetic.
Right.
We're here for a reason, for to educate people and to say, think for yourselves, check it out for yourselves, and find out. You're being lied to, and they can see that. But yet now they're that scared to say, no, I don't want to talk about flat Earth. No, it's fake news. That what is this shit? This is freedom of speech. You can forget all about freedom of speech. We have nothing, In fact,
Right.
what we need is liberation. And liberation, not just in the sense like freedom from, we're like kept in captivity in a sense, but we need liberation in the sense that we need to free ourselves in our own minds, in our own bodies, so that we're happy with ourselves in that sense. Do you hear what I'm saying? Or can you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
Can I just say that the Hoary Sheet Show's joined us? Hoary wanted to come and say hello to you, Rich.
hello there.
Hurry!
How's it going, Mr. Thrive and Survive? And Flat Earth, is that Flat Earth dude there?
Yeah.
The dude.
Hey, Astral Thief, Karen, love y'all. How's it going? I just want to say hi, and you guys have a good talk going. I'm listening.
So.
Just listening.
It's good stuff.
Glad to see your Tesla tires are still working.
I tell people that I am very, very impressed with this stock Tesla Roadster because these tires are they're holding up, believe it or not, to the vacuum of space. And this paint job has not chipped yet. And you know what? The micrometeors, don't have to worry about those. Apparently, car's good, right?
Yeah. Windshield just deflects them off.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't have a rear view mirror, and so I'm gonna have to contact Elon Musk and ask him what happened with my rear view mirror. But the space version.
Hey, Hoary, I know you're coming in the car, but show Rich the ISS space station.
Oh, Rich. Well, hold on. Let me break it out. Let's show you the hardest thing to do on the space station, but I've mastered it. You ready for this? Drinking a beer on the ISS. It's good though. I've got it down. What's that? Oh, I thought I heard somebody. It's now that I'm in the ISS, we have a little bit of a block. Hold on, let me grab my my vertical bar up here, and here we go. Just hold on, and I can float so much easier like this.
The studio behind you.
Say what? You're cutting out on me. Oh, this don't this. Oh, you know what? Only thing I need for this studio is the wires. The wires need to move and stuff. That's what I'm missing because they have moving wires in their background. I mean, in their ISS.
And you need a guy in the background to float by on a harness.
Yeah, I could do that. Actually, I could do that really, really easily from what I know how to do. So, but you know what? Believe it or not, the ISS is actually quite taxing on the knees. So that's why I like to. That's why I like to get in the Tesla, and it's so much better. I'm a professional goofball, Mr. Thrive and Survive. I think you noticed that by now. But yeah, let me tell you something, guys. This is what's fun. Karen, have I shared the chat rouletting with you yet, and how I've been able to do this live? Well, I think Karen might have muted.
No, you haven't.
Oh, so get this.
No, no, you haven't.
So check it out, Karen.
Rich has got to. Rich can't stay too much longer, though. Okay.
I'll make it quick then. I want to share this with Rich too. He'll love it. All right. So I go to Chat Roulette. Chat Roulette's a cam site where you can go on with your webcam and you just talk to random strangers, and it's unmoderated, so you get a whole lot of creepers. So be careful. Don't have your kids in the room. But when you do find people who want to talk, it's very fun. So here I am. And I start off my live stream in the Tesla with the TV attachment on the side, right? Nice addition. And I ask them if they want to have a good conversation. And if they do, then I pipe them through to the TV. and I'm already live streaming. So like this is like the censored version in case they're like naked or something. And once they're not, I'll pipe them to the TV so the live viewers can hear what we're talking about. And I flat smack them. I just go into the clone clouds stuff, and I got the pictures that I show for the for NASA's cloned clouds. Like I'll say, hey, did you know that that they're cloning clouds and photoshopping clouds? And they're like, well, what are you talking about? And so I'll just pull up a picture like this, and I'll switch to my my close shot, and I do this. And I'll play Weatherman for a minute. I say, Exhibit A. You see these two red colored squares? And they're like, yeah? Well, hold on, let me zoom in. And so I'm like, yeah, do you notice anything?
That's awesome.
You see how I'm doing it?
Yeah, that's
so
fantastic, man.
I'm
that
flat
is brilliant.
smacking.
That's live flat smacking. That's awesome, man. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
They're not
awesome.
ready for it, man. They're not ready for it. It's hilarious. And then I could show them like all kinds of stuff. I could talk about space bubbles. Every now and then you get a space bubble that oh, here's another one. And I talk about that. So like even the background is like a silent salesman because it prompts me on things to say, but it works. The thing about it is it works. It's so much fun to me. Oh my goodness, it's hilarious because if they don't want to talk, sometimes they look in the camera, they're like, what the hell? And then they click off. Or if they're doing something inappropriate, can you imagine how fast they click off thinking they're now being live streamed? And they're like, so it's hilarious. For me, it's hilarious to watch. But when we get a chatter that wants to talk, I've done this on my show on Flat Smackers Live. And then I did it on Wesley Stace and the Flat Earth News Talk. I did it on his show live twice because once I did it one time, everybody was like, dude, you got to do that again. It was great. So it's a lot of fun. Guys, check it out. The Flat Smackers Live channel is where I do it because I don't want to risk it on the Horry Sheet Show, just so you know.
Flat Smackers?
One word, Flat Smackers Live.
Flat Smackers Live.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah, because if I get a strike, I'm gone for a while. So,
Rich, I sent you a link to, I mirrored one of Horry's Fiverr.com interviews, and I sent it to you I sent it to you.
Awesome.
It's funny. It's a bit funny because this guy just goes, what it goes click. It clicks for him
big time,
but it's kind of funny as well.
Yeah, I'm sub now. I found you.
Cool, thanks. You'll love it, man. You'll love it.
Sorry,
he doesn't really know what to say. So he's like, he doesn't know what to say. Anyway.
What the flat? Horry.
Yeah.
What's up?
Can you tell whoever might be listening about your show, the Horry Sheet Show? Because you got to also imagine that there are new viewers here.
Oh. Well,
this evening, and also you, Rich,
Yeah.
Rich, would you like to go first? I know you got to go. I'll be here for a minute.
Mine's simple, just Mr. Thrive and Survive, MR. Thrive and Survive, and that's it. Or you just search in there, Mr. Thrive and Survive, you'll find it.
Cool. Check out his stuff, guys. He gets deep.
Though,
yeah, tell him what you do. I'd love for you to tell him.
Yeah, tell him what you do a bit. Mr. Thrive and Survive.
I look into just about anything if it's related to flat Earth. What I consider my specialty is the moon. There's so many things about the moon that make NASA out to be a liar.
I think your specialty is coffin dodging. Sorry to joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
Dodging bullets, blackjacks, eh? They're trying to take you out or what?
Come on, we have Rich. We have to be light-hearted about this, don't we? You're still here, man, brother.
Doesn't bother me.
So
doesn't bother me in the least.
No offense.
I joke about it myself.
I don't even know.
I've had a couple heart attacks.
Oh, okay, that makes.
Rich, has it made you a bit more determined, or you just has it made every day? Because you've had to face things. Has it made every day? Has it slowed time down for you? Has it made things different for you? I just wondered.
No, the only thing that really has changed from both heart attacks, and I tend to lose this after a while, is try not to get so much upset over things. I I internalize stress a lot, and that's probably what caused the heart attacks to start with. And I'll get upset at people in traffic, different stupid stuff. Big things usually don't bother me, but it's little stuff that usually bothers me. And after, especially the first heart attack, because they said it was so severe, and I had like a 30% chance or whatever of not surviving the ordeal, putting the stent in. That caused me to really think, am I okay with dying and things like that? And I was. I always thought I'd be okay with it, and I am. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I definitely think or know that I'm going to a better place than here. My only regrets would be, like children and things like that. I don't want to cause grief on anybody else. So other than that, really, it hasn't changed anything. I try to, eat healthier and do things healthier. And I'm just now discovered actually how to heal what's called the endothelium, which is the inside lining of the muscle cells in the heart when they get see, cholesterol is not a bad thing. It's if you have inflammation in your arteries and things like that, that's what causes it to stick in places it shouldn't stick. And I've just discovered within the last week that what I need to do is increase my niacin, which is B3, and beetroot supplement. Both of those over time will heal any inflammation, any problems that the heart has or any of the arteries have. And it does it much better than any of the statin drugs and things like that. So that's what I'm doing. So it's caused me to look deeper at natural stuff because I took statin drugs after the first heart attack, and it turned me into a walking zombie almost. I mean, it was like having Alzheimer's. I'd be in the middle of a speech or speaking, and I could not remember what I was even talking about. That's how bad it would get. So what most people don't realize is the brain needs a lot of cholesterol. It really does. It needs sugar. It needs cholesterol. So
I was just going to say, a lot of the food that we eat is actually representative of the body parts that we have. Like the brain is, if you look at a walnut and cut it in a section of it, you'll see it looks like a brain. If you take a tomato, it looks like our heart. Same with an apple. And beetroot as well, it's like take a beetroot and slice it and hold it up to light, and you'll be like, wow. I mean, it's totally Fibonacci. I mean, you look at these, anything, slice it thin enough. I mean, like thin, condom thin, hold it up to a light, and you'll be like, wow, I didn't ever think it would look like this. People should do things like that because we are what we eat. And this food is obviously essential because without it, we will not exist. So fruit and vegetables, obviously they're essential for us. But when you look at the shape of them, maybe it's telling us something. Maybe it's saying to us, walnuts, they are good for your brain. It looks like a brain. Or, then you've got, your tomato, it looks like your heart. Maybe it's good for your heart. We know tomatoes are good for you. Apples too. An apple a day
absolutely.
Keeps the doctor away, We all know that. And it's true. It is true. So, yeah, I yield the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, getting back to my channel so I don't go on too long, I try to look at things from the scientific perspective, the scientific method, and what are the big things I always get every video. You're not a scientist. You're not an expert at this. But you don't have to be an expert to have common sense. Common sense tells you that if you see the sunrise due east, no matter where you are on the earth, that something's not right with the model. And if you're in a submarine and you're going behind a destroyer for 30 miles and you're not nosing down that submarine, then you're going to surface. And you would have to constantly nose down to stay at periscope depth, and they don't do that. Same thing as flying over the country or whatever in an aircraft. If they don't nose down, you'd be going into space on a curved earth. So it works both below the water and above the water. So I look at things like that. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to have common sense. Although the knock will be you don't have a degree. You don't understand angular momentum is the biggest one I got with the sun doesn't have to speed up or slow down thing where I showed it. If it works like a clock, if something magnetically is pushing the sun and it moves in and out on that clock. In fact, that video I talked to you about shows how the analemma could be explained with magnetic attraction and things like that, how the sun can go to one side, and as a magnet starts to push it, it slows down, and then it reverses, gains momentum, goes the other way. But people want to talk about, oh, you don't understand angular momentum. It's like, it doesn't matter if I understand it or not. It doesn't matter. I'm showing you how the sun does not have to speed up or slow down on the flat Earth model. I don't agree with that model, but I'm showing people that come up with that argument that you know, you don't have to be a scientist to know these things. You don't have to be a scientist to look up at the sun or look up at the moon and you don't see any hot spot in the middle. You don't see that it gets darker around the edges, which it would have to if it was curving away from us. These are things that they have taught us to stop doing. Stop using our common sense. Stop using our senses. We don't ever feel the Earth moving. I get into things talking about Aries failure and scientific experiments like Michelson-Morley, things like that that science won't talk about because what's it do? It goes against their model.
Yeah,
this is why
Earth doesn't rotate, both of those too, huh? Or Earth's not moving. Yeah.
Yes. So it's things like that that I get into. Practical stuff is what I call it on my channel. That is, you know, we were all taught, at least in my age group, when we were going to school, do the science yourself, prove things yourself. But that's the opposite of the way it is today. Today it is just believe us. And they don't do the experiments either. So I'll yield the floor back. That's my channel. So I do videos like that, just everyday stuff that shows you we're not on a spinning ball.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, don't want us to think at all. They just don't want us to think.
No.
That's yeah, we're the enemy if we start thinking. And I wanted to pipe in and say, Rich, so one of your videos I saw recently that I highlighted in one of my Flat Earth Digests was that you were talking about the Doppler radar system and how the towers of the Doppler prove a flat Earth. The way they're made to just show us the bottom layer of the cloud cover and precipitation from A to B. But if you're talking about, you know, like distances like 40 miles away, even, like, you're going to have just some. How are they even able to do that if it's not a line of sight technology? If it's a curved technology, you're not going to get what kind of Doppler radar readings we get right now. It's just not going to work. And you pointed that out very eloquently. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's basically what you're pointing out, right? It's a line of sight technology. It has to be.
Absolutely. And earlier in this hangout, if you want to go back and look at it, I just flew to the East Coast from Arizona, and there was thunderstorms just west of Baltimore when I was landing there. And we were at 13,000 feet, and I knew we were in a thunderstorm. I could just tell, being a weatherman, that we were in the middle of a thunder shower or a thunderstorm.
That helps.
And so, right? Yeah, so I videotaped showing that there was no rain outside the window, there was no rain on the wing, nothing. And then I have a radar picture of the rain we went through, where it was just pouring down rain on the ground. But at 13,000 feet, we had nothing. So one of the arguments is, oh, it rains all the way up to 69,000 feet or whatever. It's like, you know, the biggest face palm ever. It's like, if you've never worked in it, why do you want to show your ignorance? But I talked about how once you get to 15,000 feet and higher, generally, depends on the time of year, you start getting into ice crystals. It's not raindrops anymore. So it's just, and even if it was raining there, as you pointed out, the Doppler radar would not pick that up. And as you said, even at 40 miles, it's line of sight. It's not intelligent. It doesn't send out an intelligent beam that knows.
Very basic beam, huh?
Yeah, that knows to curve and then curve back to give the image.
Exactly.
It's just common sense. And the image I showed, I got one. I haven't even done the video with it yet. I showed the Cape Hatteras radar, where there's obviously, because they kept saying, oh, Cuba's tied into the system. Again, they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't worked with it. No Cuba radar is tied into the U.S. Doppler radar as of this date anyway. Maybe in the future, but not right now. And they do have radar, because they would send me links. Look, here's radar in Cuba. Yeah, but it's Cuban radar. It's not tied into the U.S. Doppler radar system. Anyway, I've got a picture now of Cape Hatteras, where there were showers that were 240 miles offshore. And I'm sure people say, well, there's buoys out there that have radar systems.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And the other argument is,
that made me snort.
Yeah. The other argument is, well, why don't you just have one radar in the central part of the country and it can tell you where it's raining all over the world if it's flat? And that's true. You could do that, but you would be killing everything for thousands of miles every time that thing rotated because of the energy. They're microwaves.
Oh, that brings me to a point, Rich. What do you think about the Exalt Wireless Company going 150 something kilometers or whatever over the Mediterranean Sea? I might get the numbers wrong, but that's a heck of a long distance. What are they doing? Frying how much of ocean life in that curvature? What are they sending through the water if it's not flat? Oh, I don't hear you. Here we go.
Wow, it muted on its own. That's weird.
Oh.
There's somebody doing microwave tests right now. I got to find the channel again where they're going incredible miles and they're getting these link ups that should be miles of balls in between. And this is again line of sight microwave. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work. And when we can coalesce it all together and get enough people to see it, it'll be over. It really will be.
That and then infrared is now hitting the flat Earth cameras. It's all good from here, baby. I can't wait.
Did you see the one with the ferry boat and the other smaller boat in front of it from 53 miles?
Are you talking about where there's a boat and then there's a boat behind it and then there's still like water, but even behind them? I might have seen that, and that in itself right there is just a proof of a long flat plane.
Well, and not only that, but I'm going to do a video on this. What nobody's pointed out is that they were holding a perfect lateral line the whole time lapse. Now ferries, they go small. They don't go fast. They go slow. So I don't know how many hours it took that guy to do that, but there was no jumping up and down, which you would get differences in refraction if it was there, which there's no evidence of it. They were in a perfect lateral line the whole way, which shows the refraction is BS.
With the IR lens? Oh, so that's why you don't see the refraction? Is that what you're getting at?
No, there's no refraction. If you want to say there is refraction, then we should see that jump up and down over time, and we don't.
I thought the infrared cuts out a lot of at least the haze.
It should.
And stuff,
I would. Well, to me, there's no refraction anyway. You're looking laterally, and you're going from the same medium air to air. And people want to say, well, yeah, it's more dense or less dense. It could equally be more dense on one side than the other. So you could. If it's more dense and far away from you, it would tend to make things go down. And my latest thing too is I finally coalesced in my brain was you can't raise something up by refraction if light isn't striking it from your eye to start with. It's got to be line of sight to start with to refract anything. You can't take something that's hidden over 5 miles of curvature, let's say, and all of a sudden that light's not reaching you, but somehow it refracts up to where now the light's refracting. That makes no sense. That's hard for me to explain, but
good point.
There's a lot of
Rich, I've got a couple of acrylic domes, like 30-40 centimeters diameter, half domes, acrylic, see-through, and I plan on doing some little. I'm going to play around with them anyway. I've got laser. I've got a green laser. I smoke, which is also an advantage because I can blow smoke in towards the lasers to see, where my line of sight is going, opposed to against a dark background or something. I've played around with it a little bit before, but I've never filmed it, and I know it's a good effect. We can see I've got also some prisms and glass beveled edges and stuff, 45 degrees, I think 90 degrees I've got as well. Obviously thick glass, 15 millimeter glass, and I can just play around with it and see what action comes of it. What happens when I point the laser here, or what happens when I point it in this direction. I can use mirrors too, and just play around with it, and have a bit of fun, for a few hours, I can even get the kids doing it and say, hey, what shapes can you make on the walls? And, and we can film it and take photographs, and it'll give us, I don't know, it'll give us more questions, that's for sure. But I mean, at least it'll give us something to do for a day, and we can play with lasers and see how light is refracting. Like you say, it's not going to bend up. Usually it bends downwards, yeah. Everything bends downwards in that sense, but good to play around always.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go, anytime you go to more dense or throw a more dense medium, it bends down. I do have an experiment that I'm going to propose that I think will end this refraction nonsense once and for all. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I think it's got 32 miles of beach line. which is public. This is I may have talked about this before, but my friend Dave in Wales actually came up with part of this, and that is you take two balloons, but you raise them, two weather balloons, on a tether line where they only go, let's say, 100 feet up or something like that. You do it at night, where there's lights on the basket underneath the balloons, and you can even put lights inside, fluorescent lights or whatever, inside the balloon itself to light them up. But you do it to where there's at least twice as much curve in between, beyond what the supposed refraction is. You have cameras on each one, and if each one can see each other through the bulge, then you have no refraction to take into account, because one would have to be bent up and the other would have to be bent down, right? So anyway, that's something I'm going to propose that somebody do in Myrtle Beach, because I think there's a spot to do that.
You've just given me an idea, actually. Similar principle. Get two drones, because you can set a drone to like altitude, can't you? This needs to go up now 30 foot.
Yes.
You get it to go up 30 foot, and now imagine you can get it all right. It might be a little bit. No, it's not going to be accurate enough. But basically, it was this. It flies to 30 foot. You have another one 9 miles away across the lake that also has an altitude of 30 foot with a camera on it. And let's imagine that you've got some sort of a mirror with a hole in it, right? You know, one of these what they called heliograph. I can't remember, but what, you know, when you signal, a signaling mirror basically, and you can see for forever with them. You can see for so far with them. Something like that, you know, on two drones, one on one side, one on the other side, and you have like, but then, like I say, it's not going to be accurate because you cannot, there's no stability. That's the problem. You need to have it stable. It'd have to be 100% stable. You can't guarantee that because of winds and things, couldn't you? But you get my drift. It's the same what you're saying, Rich.
Yeah.
In Myrtle Beach in Florida.
No,
Right.
South Carolina.
That's Robert Forsh's beach, Myrtle Beach.
Sorry, of course. Sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I was getting to. Robert Forsh is there
in South Carolina.
Yeah, he goes to Myrtle Beach and does all his filming.
That's his beach when he's out. When he's out filming the sea, that's the beach that he's on, Myrtle Beach. Maybe you should get in contact with him. He can help you probably. I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I'd be even willing to, at some point, to maybe fly there and do it.
That's cool. I had an idea that was, I didn't flesh it out or whatever, but I kind of think in my head and in my gut, I feel the next good experiment is going to be something like you said, a weather balloon tethered to the ground or some drone footage. But I think the tether would hold up, especially on maybe a not so much windy day. And you're going to see, are those lights level with each other when we see what camera to camera, or is one down or one up? But you're supposedly, like I said, avoiding a lot of the refraction and stuff, doing it from that high, right?
I can't understand why the experiment I want to conduct, the hose pipe one, it's so simple, and it's like, I mean, you could not get more simple, and it's with water. You get a hose pipe, clear at one end, clear at the other end, through water from one beach to another beach. You can take the height from water level, you know, a meter up or whatever, same on the other side, and check the difference. Check what the height is. It's got to be the same. But would it be the same on a globe?
You're going to have no water in the middle if it's a globe, right?
Correct, yeah. No, but you have to pump water all the way through. It has to be water all the way through, and then it's a level. It's a water level.
Well, if you can make it level at all, well, what would stop them from saying?
Regardless of anything, if you take a hose pipe and you fill it with water, when you hold that one end on one end of a building and you pin it to that height, and you put the other end at the other end of the building, when them two levels are still, they're the same height. They will always be the same height. No matter what you do, they will always be the same height. And that's what I'm saying. If you take it from one end of beach A through a lake, long lake, to beach B on the other side of the lake, you're supposed to have two different heights. But I guarantee you, I guarantee I'm laughing now because I know it's so fucking simple. I'm sorry for swearing. Forgive me, Lord. Those two heights will be the same. They will be the same. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
Oh, I do
somebody's
too.
You know.
somebody's using that water level right now, or I just saw somebody use it in a laser experiment to show that the laser was, I think, level with the water.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's what they
wow.
always do, don't they? How do they check that the level's level, that the laser level is level? They use a water level, you know. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he's staring you in the face. Use
Yeah.
water. Use a water level, you know.
But you know,
Look it up.
the ballers though, they're going to say that, oh, well, the water is curving with Earth's curvature and gravity, and it just becomes level like that. Well,
No, but you
that,
can
you know,
disprove it because you can do, Horry, you can do it on an experiment yourself. You can take, in fact, I should ought to do it because I've got this half perspex dome and I can take a little hose pipe on one side and a little hose pipe on the other side, or going over the top and the other side, fill it with water. And I'll tell you what, it will piss out with water until, like you say, it's level, right? And then I can do it again by lifting it up. And the only way for it to be level is if we're on a level plane. It's impossible for it to be on a ball. It will not work. You'll get air at the top because water will equalize. It will equalize. Can you see what I'm saying? Can you visualize it?
I'm pretty
Please say
sure, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
it
going to
has.
have no less water in the middle. It's got to have less water in the middle if it's a ball. That's the way I visualize it.
Yeah, the center of a lake should be the lowest point.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Anyone can do it at home.
Mhm.
You can do it at home, right? All you need to do is get a hose pipe, fill it with water, and put the middle over a chair, right? And then you've got the ground on the left, that's America. The ground on the right is Europe. Let's take that for an example. You take your fingers off both ends, you know, the left and the right holes. What will happen? And I will tell you now what will happen. It will equalize until the height of those two at the left and the right are level. That was where the water will end. It'll piss out until it gets to that level. So you'll have air from the top of the chair all the way down to the top of the pipe. I guarantee it. You can do it now. And if I'm wrong, I will chop my left foot off.
You're already missing the right one. What did you bet before? Just kidding with the Astral.
Yeah. Thank you, Astral. Always a lot to talk about, isn't there, Rich?
Yeah,
Always
Flat Earth
something.
Dude, you need to say hello to the chat room. Flat Earth Dude, are you there? Chat room, man.
He's driving, Astral.
No, I'm back. I'm back. You guys there? Are you
We're
guys
here.
I am.
Cool. I just sat down at a restaurant and I'm refreshing myself here, and gonna have some food, and then I'm about 5 minutes from the meetup.
Oh, what's
Hey.
going on? What meetup?
Okay, this is a meetup that is
Nice.
in Los Angeles, California, and it's this channel Shane Dawson. I don't know. Have you ever heard of him? I'm sure you have. Or
Yeah, I actually now I know what you're talking about. But go ahead. I know it. Yeah.
yeah. His Shane interviewed his brother, Jared, and he's a flat earther, and he did a really
Yep.
great interview, really good, solid flat earth information, and then he got about 16 million views, 17 million views on that.
15.
So,
Yeah, it was at 15 last I reported. It got 2 million more. Wow, that was just a week ago.
It's over 16.2,
Wow.
2.3, somewhere in there. And his brother Jared has put together his own channel called Doubt Me, and he's got about 110,000 subs, and he's doing like a documentary, and he's flying in deep inside the rabbit hole. David Weiss, Patricia Steers, Mark Sargent, and might be a few others that we'd might be a few surprises. Anyway, I'm going there to do a live stream in about an hour, and why don't you come on and hang out with us, because it's going to be a party.
I just may, depends on what kind of time I have here coming up. But
right.
that sounds
be a
awesome,
blast.
man. You know what's special about this? They're
Gonna
gonna
be a
have some. They're gonna be some. There's gonna be some higher tier media show up there, from what I understand.
That's
And
what I heard.
yeah, this is gonna be good publicity for the flat Earth movement altogether, no matter
Exactly,
how you
man.
look at it. Can't
And
wait for
and,
that.
and I really think that Jared will do a really decent job with this, man. This is not a hit piece like Nat Geo and that whole thing.
Yeah, I heard about this from Aaron Krishak, which he might also be down there. I'm not sure if they're going to.
Aaron's coming for sure. I talked to him.
So,
I talked to him yesterday.
Give him,
there you
give him
go.
a big hug from me, dude.
What
give
is
him a big hug from me, man.
Oh yeah, we'll
From us all, in fact.
We'll get him on the phone here. We'll get him on the hangout, and we'll be talking to everybody that will talk to us.
And for those of you who don't know, Project Lumen, LUMEN, projectlumen.org is a site where you can go check out this guy, Aaron Krishak. He's doing his own, and from what I know, the only flat Earth cryptocurrency and platform. Yep. So we'll be able to like do so much with this if you're into that kind of thing. And it's a way to not only support a flat earther like him, but oh man, he's got some plans.
You can support yourself.
Can I just add, if anyone is interested, Aaron has been on Sun and Moon before, and you will find him on previous hangouts that we've had. Very interesting stuff.
He does talk about his project. He updates us, and I'm gonna probably try to get him. Hey, come back on and let us know where you're going, because I just did a video commercial for them, and I'm trying to help him out. Yeah, I'm trying to help him out as much as I can.
Yeah, I heard you did that. That's right. You did the commercial for him. They haven't shown the commercial yet.
No, so it's going to come out, but here's the insiders. Okay, they're launching the platform soon, but they're getting all the stuff ready and perfect. And from what I understand, there's so much that you have access to. It's like a whole social media platform if you want it to be. But you can even. What I like about it is at some point you're going to be able to take your internet and while you're not using it, basically whore it out and earn cryptocurrency. And it's just so many things that you can do. It's going to be incredible. I don't understand the whole cryptocurrency thing yet, but when you see what's possible with cryptocurrency and you see what he's doing, he's a coder, it's amazing. He's doing some great stuff.
And it's really cheap right now, so I would suggest dropping $20 or something.
Exactly, investing $20 is a great idea.
You'll get.
We need to support him in that sense, yeah. And
if you drop $20, you'll get about 2,000 coins.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
The thing is, it's gonna get far because it's the only thing of its kind. And if you invest in it early. And to anything that's going to go far, you're going to make an investment later on. I fully believe in it. But all the profits, dude, they're just trying to spread flat Earth. They're just trying to spread it as far and as wide as they can. And so investing in that is not only going to do yourself a favor if you try to sell the coins later or trade them on the Bitcoin market, but yeah, look into that.
Plus, I want to add, he had like a kind of an incentive scheme where it's like kind of based on points system kind of thing, right? Where the more you interact, the more you participate, the more points you get, and these points contribute to you can buy gold coins with them or whatever. You can buy your coins with them.
Yeah, there's some system that tracks your participation, and that's really interesting.
Like if you do a flat Earth project and you actually get paid, in coin for your efforts, I mean, things like that, man. So yeah, it's a deep thing. I don't understand it all, of course. Maybe Aaron will enlighten us on what's going on tonight.
We got to get him back.
I remember him saying that he's worked it out that there's a kind of a fairness deal to it, so it's fair that the more you put into it, the more you get out of it,
Exactly.
And if you put a little bit into it, of course you're going to get something back, but you're only going to get a little bit back. But in that kind of sense that. Yeah, it works in that sense, like a cold share kind of thing, or a profit share kind of thing.
Hey, if I'd have said you could have got Bitcoin, for $1 a coin. You got,
Ooh,
Of
yeah.
course, every one of us would have bought it as much as we could have. So yeah, it's cheap now, man. I would get a little bit at least.
Yeah,
What do you got?
it's called Iron Coin, by the way, and the symbol is FE, like on the chart.
Yeah, and
FE
Republic.
is- Yep.
Very good.
I want to say hi,
And
Joey
iron,
Rocha
and
is
iron
in the
is
chat
a
right now.
periodic table, Fe, iron.
There's
Iron
a
coin.
he's muted, but he's here.
Joey,
Rocha is in
Joey.
here.
What's up, everybody? Flat Earth Unity, whatever Horace Sheet says.
Oh man, he's a
Hori,
hero.
man, your damn new interface with I can't wait to watch a few episodes.
I'm such a huge fan of Horace Sheet show. The way you do it.
incredible.
I would never do it that way, but it's really cool. I mean, you're effective, and you got to have your personality to do it. So I love it.
Exactly.
Thanks, man. It's so much fun to do this. And right now, like one of the backgrounds I have is actually a computer game. And so instead of the normal background, what's that, Karen?
I saw that one.
Yeah, I have I don't know. Right now, my ship is flying somewhere. There's a sun behind me or some star, but it's so random. I could have space battles in this background. I could have me going through a super highway with other ships. I got all kinds of stuff. It's hilarious. Or I could switch over to this one, which is I call it the vanilla Tesla background, which it doesn't even have stars. And this is what they gave us and said this is more realistic. Now, what looks more realistic, this or something with some stars behind it, like my video game?
There you go.
Oh man, makes you think.
Hori, you're at the right age, and you're reaching the right age bracket that that your age bracket that's just all into the games and all that stuff. So,
Hori, how old are you, brother? How old are you?
I'm 32, man.
32. You're almost 33. You're almost 33. I'm gonna say it right now, you guys. Hori's gonna be one of those big old heroes that takes us there because you've got that avenue. You've got that avenue. You know what I mean? Like Rob Skibb has got like one of those avenues, and you know what I mean? Like you've got an avenue where you can grab all these sheep, all these innocent sheep, and they're just like fishing.
Yeah. The thing is, man, I'm trying to reach an audience. I'm making a whole new channel, and it's gonna break away. It's gonna paint me as nobody's going to know I'm a flat earther on my new channel. I only have about 2,300 subs, and I love everybody that subbed up to me. But what I'm going to do is continue what I'm doing on that for everybody that subbed. But I'm also going to branch off. I'm going to create several new channels and split every topic I talk about into a new channel. But one of them is going to be interesting, and you guys will want to check it out. And it's going to be me talking about viral everything, viral politics, viral funny videos, viral fights in Taco Bell or Burger King video,
right.
Like all the stuff that interests people. And then I'm gonna make fun of it and say how, oh man, look at humans, they're crazy. Oh man, what is the world coming to? And I'm gonna be my funny personality making fun of it, Hori style, right? But the whole point is I'm gonna throw in a video of the astronauts doing backflips and getting caught in their harnesses and spinning baseballs from their pocket to try to take your mind off of it. And I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna make fun of that. So it's going to be very flat earth friendly. I'm going to pop in space bubble videos and be like, hey guys, let's move on from the fight at Taco Bell and talk about why the hell do you see space bubbles on their spacewalks outside the ISS? And I'm going to be very serious about that. And then I'm just going to move on, but hopefully to catch a viral audience, a viral sub count,
cool,
and all these sleepers. You see where I'm going?
Yeah. You get the
Cool.
Genius, man.
Yeah. Did anybody look into the clip that I posted? It was the guy that I was telling you about. It wasn't from Ukraine. That was my problem. I was thinking about someone else. It was from Romania, and it was called Dali Bomba. The guy's had 30-odd million hits, I believe. Right, so putting comments in that kind of thing, like, oh, I love your video, man. You should be you should definitely be a member of the Flat Earth movement, like, or whatever. You're so down to earth, you got to be a flat earther, something like that. I don't know, something to get people to what you should be a member of the get people thinking about this flat earth. That was my thought anyway. But The video is just so funny. It's called Dali Bomba, if you've not seen it, and it's just hilarious.
Okay, cool.
Astro, I'm not sure how much longer Rich can stay on here, and I know that he likes varied things. But Joey, would you just really quickly tell Rich about your theory about volcanoes?
Yes, I will. So
Rich would like this.
Okay, so it's not a theory because it's a fact, but yeah, I will present it. I'll present it that way. So lava tubes. You're talking about where lava comes from, right, Karen?
Yeah.
Okay, so lava comes from underground lava tubes. Hang on 1 second. Hang on.
Oh.
Okay, so underneath the ground, there's these underground lava tubes. Have you ever been to see lava in person? If not, then go online and you can see Thurston lava tubes, for example. These hollowed out caves, these tunnels that you can walk through that lava at one point ran through, and now it's dormant. Lava creates its own tubes because the outer portion of this huge stream of lava on the Earth's surface, it starts to cool it, and so it makes its own tubes, okay? So anyways, it can go out, it can hollow out eventually, and you can actually walk through these things. I've been to the volcano tons and tons of times. Well, anyways, lava comes from these underground lava tubes and never from a volcano that's cone-shaped that erupts. These things that we think are cone-shaped mountains are merely, if you follow Fissure 8, for example, on the Big Island of Hawaii, follow it starting March 3rd, and you'll see there was no mound whatsoever. Eventually, March 8th, the lava coming out creates its own mound because it's basically it's silica and oxygen, but when it hits the Earth's oxygen, it starts to cool down and make different forms, and it makes this kind of glass, right, that we call lava rock. So that's what it's doing. It's building its own mound. What came first, the lava or the mound? Well, the lava came first. So all lava comes from underground lava flow, not from erupting volcanoes. And the reason why that's so important, that means that stuff like, you know, these super volcanoes underneath Yellowstone or et cetera, are never going to happen. You notice how we only ever have the history of these volcanoes, et cetera, et cetera. But furthermore, to even go more into this detail of this theory, how deep it goes, is that these underground lava tubes that are coursing through the Earth, not only are they there, and volcanists know of this, even volcanists admit that 95 to 96% of all lava flow comes from these underground lava tubes, right? Now, also, the cool, interesting thing, brother, is that earthquakes, what we call earthquakes, are actually caused by these underground lava tubes. Now, these things are about the size of a subway tunnel, and they course through the Earth like veins through our body. Okay, now as they're moving and we're on the ground above and they're below our feet, they're causing, on occasion, a cave-in because the Earth between you on the surface, us on the surface, and this lava tube underneath. That's why when you hear, that's why whenever you see what we call an earthquake, it should be not called an earthquake, it should be called a cave-in. The actual ground even starts to sink in a little bit. That's why you're going to notice seismic activity and volcanic activity going hand in hand. And that's the nutshell of it. I've been geeking out on this for a long time. And the reason why it's so important is because on the Big Island of Hawaii, there's a fissure, there's fissures that are leaking. And all the locals there believe it's due to geothermal fracking, which is basically tapping a hole into it using hydraulically using liquids in there to cause a hole in the ground to scoop up petroleum. But in effect, what they're doing is they're doing it right where these lava tubes are at, putting holes in them, artificially causing lava to flow out of these veins. So there's kind of like the nutshell version of it.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. I'm glad you brought that up, Karen. Yeah, that's fascinating. You know, for some reason, the people that believe in the globe want to use volcanoes as a proof that it's a globe, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, exactly, and this is even more so because they want to say there's a globe that's, you know, supposedly at the core, there's this magnetic core, right, of molten lava that's 10,800 degrees, correct? That's what they say. Well, first, I mean, how would we know it's that deep? You know, we have to take their word for it. And the funny thing is, even if it was that temperature, 10,800 degrees, it would be unmagnetic. Why is that?
Because because molten lava or molten metal is not magnetic, is it?
The Curie-Weiss law says that any metal at or above 1,000 degrees loses its magnetic susceptibility. So it's 10.8 times over it. So it's, you know, everything they say is a joke. And everything's the opposite of what they say too. You know, we have one sun, so they say we have an infinite amount of suns. The moon.
Well, you know this,
light, so they say it's reflected the sun's light.
Sorry, brother. This show, in a sense, it's kind of nice, you know, because they contradict themselves all the time, you know, and it's like you're revealing that you're, well, basically you're full of shit, you know, in that sense, because they're saying one thing and yet they're saying another, you know. So yeah, work it out. It's not that like difficult, is it?
A lie, and the easiest way, it's not always the right way, but everything is like a lie, but it's also just like the opposite of what's really true. So to start to get yourself in the right senses, just say, okay, they said this is true. It's probably the exact opposite. You know,
absolutely.
That's what they do, and then you're on the.
Well, yeah. I know it's funny, but yeah, that's exactly true. That is, you know, look at the left hand, but actually it's the right hand that you should be looking at.
In my research, yep.
So they got to make it simple for them too. You know what I mean? Because you know, they have to lie about everything, so they just make it the opposite. It's easier to remember for them. I don't know if that's true, but it seems in my research when I started doing this thing, I'm just like, 180 degrees everything, and you'll be on the right track to something.
You're right. That's my research too, is that they literally give you the exact opposite of the truth in as many cases as possible. And it's fascinating in a sense.
Yeah. I think NASA really is mostly to do with below ground, underground military bases, stuff like that. So they have you look up always with NASA. And I think all that money's going for that.
There's the public side, isn't it? That they give us is NASA with rockets. And then there's the military side of it, isn't there? Of NASA.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt.
Which they don't.
Yeah, but isn't NASA, isn't it a military
NASA, yeah, that's the branch of the military for sure. They're funded by the military. They just don't wear guns. They're the ones that are there to be our friends and trick us, like the professor behind the curtain. You know, the Wizard of Oz. Just a nickel behind the ear trick. And that's the sad thing too. Like, we all know the moon landing was a hoax here, obviously, and so does everyone listening. But the way they do it is like they treat us like children. You know, they show a rocket going up in the air. The astronauts that go inside, they have a slide thing that they go on to get out of there. You know what I mean? They shoot it up, and people don't see it. CGI to finish it off, and then Nixon socks it on the landline. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, that's how simple it is because we're so gullible. You know, the TV fools us every time.
Totally, and Robert Fulcher was saying about that, they don't know because they don't know. No.
They don't know what they don't know because they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people behind the telemetry,
they don't know.
They don't know any better. Like all those people that are building the satellites, building the rockets. Of course, they're gonna devote themselves and say, "You guys are lying. I built the stuff." They just don't know the stuff they're building is just shot in the water. And the other people that are looking at the telemetry data, they don't know they're just reading telemetry data.
The people that view it on television, they don't know either. They're like, "Wow, did you see that? Awesome!" Because it's on TV, it's got to be true. You got to trust them mainstream media. Of course you do. You got to trust the governments. Of course you do.
That I sent you, Rich, which Rory did about this guy suddenly just waking up, like, wow, like didn't know what to say.
It was just like that. He had no words. He was just like, wow, oh my god. And that was one of I want to say
can we not
1,
see,
2, 3
can we
more.
Not see that clip, brother? Is it not possible to show that clip? I haven't seen it, and I think I would love to see it. I've heard it. I've not seen it though.
I don't know where to. I'd have to search for it in my folders. I have like a lot of different folders, and I don't know what his name was. But
take it off
let me see.
Sun and Moon.
We've got time. We've got time. No rush.
All right.
Hey,
I'll find it.
While you're looking
at that, Rich wants to do. Rich, are you happy to stay a little bit longer?
I got about 8 minutes. Is it a long clip?
No, I'll just play a minute of it or so, and you'll see his face.
What did you expose him to? Flat Earth?
I've exposed him. I send him 5 different links. Anything from Eric DeBay's 200 Proofs Earth's Not a Spinning Ball to ODD's 2018 documentary, Earth documentary #2, or whatever he named it. So all these different things, and they pick the one that they want, and I make a video showing who watched what video, and it's been very interesting the kind of reactions that I've been getting from these people. They watch 40 minutes of it, some of them. I think this is the guy here. think I found it. Yeah, I think this is him. Oh, no.
Go, Hori, go.
Oh, no.
Just take it off Sun and Moon if you want, because that's the one I mirrored.
Okay. If you could pop that link in there, I'll take it right off of that. Otherwise, I'm in the folder right now. It's just a matter of figuring out which one of these it is.
Oh, go for it then. Mine's got music on it.
I have. It's just a little bit more frame rate, I guess. So let's see. I just put up a highlight reel too, which was really funny. Well, wait, you know what, Karen? That one that you showed was good, but you remember I don't know if you've seen the lady that did a 7-minute video, but the way she starts it off is gold. I think I'd rather play that one. You might have remembered it from last time.
Go on then, but Rich, I can't stay too much longer.
Look, let me play this one. Let me play this one. You remember that one, Astral? So this lady was like absolutely ecstatic over it. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch it to the whatchamadinkey, and we'll do it. The gears, I guess.
It's amazing what you can do from a Tesla, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. All right, screen share. Here we go. Application window. I'm gonna pick the video window here.
Yeah, application window.
Right. That's fun. I don't actually see her. The video that I have, it's in a VLC file. I mean, it's a VLC video that's popped up, but it's not here in the application window. So let me try to just open it again. Sometimes it bugs out.
Yeah, I've just taken it off and put it on me for a moment, just in case you show the link.
Exactly.
Mr. Thrive, before you go, brother, I would love to pick your brain on just a real quick topic. Interrupt me anytime, Hori. I would love to pick your brain on a real quick topic.
Hi, Russian Vids.
No. I don't know what's happening. It's not showing me my VLC video player in the application window options. So it's just not letting it happen. That's all. It's funny.
On Facebook. I sent it to you on Facebook. You can have it from there.
Hey, shout out to the chat. Who we got?
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat.
I love it. I love it when you do that, dude. I love it.
I can't see the chat. I can't see it. So I'm like, you guys in the chat are awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Keep it going. Thank you, guys.
Russian Vids. Russian Vids.
Hey, Russian Vids. How's it going, man?
I don't see him here.
I'll be in the chat.
No, he's in the
Hello,
chat.
No, he's in the
gotcha.
chat.
Oh,
Is he not
okay.
going to come on in a bit? That could be fun.
Well,
Come on.
Flat Earth spoke to him, and it's for the next bit when we meet up with Flat Earth Dude to go to California.
All right, yeah, but that's in a bit, isn't it? It's 1 o'clock here for me now.
Yeah, the meetup starts in 1 hour from now.
Did you want to ask me something, Joey?
I do. Are you a Dome subscriber?
A what subscriber?
A Dome? Like, some kind of vast something
Yes.
cover?
Yes.
Okay, check this out. Me too, huge. I think, and I want to pick your brain on it. Have you ever heard that lightning doesn't strike down, it actually strikes up? There's downward leaders and upward leaders. They make a connection. And, okay, so wouldn't you think that is total dome proof? Because lightning goes up. If it went up and there was no dome, it would go into infinity, and NASA would be right. Something is reverberating and echoing that noise in a localized manner, right? That's what we're hearing the delay. So I just wanted to see what you thought about that. I think that's 100% dome proof. Thunder is proof there's something vast out
Yeah, echoing with thunder, I think is a great proof. I've thought about that before too.
there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I never knew lightning struck down. I mean, up. I always thought it struck down because I never even looked into it. And then I found out that science teachers say this. It's not like it's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually what happens. And then I, just heard other people saying stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, that is true. That's total proof.
There's also
go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's also something called ball lightning, which science now has taken out, saying it doesn't exist. But that is where lightning can actually roll. It forms like a ball and can roll like down metal. Like I remember my grandfather telling me he saw it roll down railroad tracks towards him. He said he was blind for about 30 minutes. after it was so bright. But anyway, science says all of a sudden they took it out and said, no, it doesn't exist. But before 1975, whatever, it was always in the science books, the weather books, whatever. So like, I guess.
Joey, you were just saying a minute ago about, thunder and the sound of thunder. I've always thought that as well. When you hear thunder, where does it come from then? That sound, what's it bouncing off? It has to bounce off something, doesn't it?
It's not instantaneous, right? So it's not hitting the ground. It's not instantaneous. And there's no potholes everywhere and stuff like that too. And we always hear that noise from above.
Yeah.
And it's delayed. And it's because it's localized noise. And think of a Tesla coil. The glass is up there. Something is bringing it. I don't know, fingers or what. And it's going upwards. And we know for sure from science itself, it's just, we're not even debating science here, that lightning does strike up. Just like when you touch the doorknob and you've rubbed your finger on the carpet, you're conducting electricity into the door.
For sure, yeah.
Seems like the door's
Joey, what I'm saying is the sound of thunder. The sound of thunder. Where does that? Because if you think about it, we're supposed to have space above us. We've got atmosphere. You've got the stratosphere and the ionosphere and the, what was it I said one time? Get my ass out of here, sphere, something. But anyway, all these different troposphere and shit, right? Where is this sound bouncing off? Because there is nothing there. It's less and less dense, isn't it? The less dense you get, the less resistance you have. So if you've got sound waves, and I know about sound waves, we all know about sound waves. We have eardrums. Those eardrums vibrate in and out. They go in and out, and that sends a signal to our brain, which interprets what we're hearing into, this what we're hearing. We make sense of things. It's our brain that's hearing, our brain that's seeing, and our brain that's doing all our senses, our brain. The other parts are just external parts, but it's not them, it's our brain. Without our brain, we can't see, smell, taste, touch, feel. Can we experience things?
Yeah, and
back to the dome.
No, that is the dome, because
what I'm saying is, where does this sound bounce from? It should. I mean, it emanates from somewhere. Obviously, it emanates above us, but it's like, well, a lot of the sound should disperse. The same with jets. I always thought when a jet flies over us, we can hear it flying over us, man. When it's turning, we can hear when it's turning. When it's coming towards us or away from us, you can hear it. Well, that sound is bouncing off something, and it's not just bouncing off the ground, because the ground will absorb, if not 90% of it. I don't know how much, but I'm just guessing now. The sound absorption from the ground, all the buildings, all the trees, all of the, the structures that we build, and lakes and all sorts of things. That sound is bouncing off something. What is it bouncing off? It must be.
I think it's bouncing off. Yeah, I think it's bouncing off something that's built here naturally using the lava, because when you cool lava rapidly, it turns into blue obsidian. That's the Antarctic ice wall, and the ring of fire. If you follow it, if you follow the ring of fire on a flat Earth, instead of it going around the equator, if you flip it onto a flat Earth, it's going to go just on the outer perimeter. Long story short, you get blue obsidian, and that explains Job 37:18, molten lava looking glass, because that's what it turns into. Plus, obsidian being blue explains why the sky looks blue during the day, even though air is clear. It explains why the water looks blue during the day, even though air is clear. It also explains the electromagnetic of our universe, or of our encapsulated dome that we live in, because it's dielectric, which that's beautiful. And it also explains shooting stars, because according to the Bible and other ancient texts, the stars are attached to this dome doing one complete rotation per day. That's why we see these star trails. And the byproduct of obsidian, believe it or not, is perlite. And perlite responds under speed and heat conditions the same way that a shooting star does. Looks like a popcorn. And what is the only abundant mineral that we have that's non-renewable? Perlite. That's what we put in our fertilizer for everything. It's super growable. So, and at the very uppermost layer, it's able to stay at that perfect equilibrium because of Passion's law, a potter's wheel. And because at the very top is most likely, according to Robert Bassano, superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin, which is able to stay stable constantly. So the reason why it sheds and gives those shooting stars is because just like our skin, it stays renewable. So it's rotating, letting go the dead skin of itself, so to speak, and then continually renewing itself and keeping itself strong.
Maybe,
so that's
maybe
what I think.
I'm just thinking now, right? Maybe it's worthwhile doing some sort of experimentation with this, yeah, you know, what Robert Bassano did with the imaginary clouds or the.
Robert Bassano did a whole diagram AutoCAD. He has it already done. He did it like 2 years ago. And theoretically, it's pretty bulletproof. But of course, it's just theoretically.
But I've seen something where people have got like these, what did you call it? The superfluous hydro.
Superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin. It's able to stay stable indefinitely.
Right. Well, I've seen something where they had this tank with different types of there must be inert gases in them. Right. You couldn't see them, but when you put different things in there, they would flow to different levels. You know, different densities, obviously. I'm just thinking now I'm thinking way out the box, I tell you, but to kind of like make some sort of a dome, to put this inert gas in there, you know, this tank thing, and then to make a bang and record it and to see like what happens, you know, how does it bounce back in regards to like if you did it in one without the gases in it, you know, obviously one with, one without, you know, different tests, that kind of thing. But I'm just thinking like, where does sound bounce from? I yield the floor.
Sorry, it's just that Rich has to go, and now I've got the video up.
Oh, you got the video that I was going to play? I found the one that we were talking about.
Minutes then, Hori, because Rich has got to go in a minute.
Yeah, if you want, I can just play the first 2 minutes. It's, you know, several minutes long, but this guy gave us a reaction. You asked me to play it, and I did finally find the right one. You want to hear it, Rich?
Yeah,
First
absolutely.
2 minutes, 2-3 minutes or so. I'll just play it. All right. So this is a guy that we paid $5 to watch 40 minutes. No, he just watched 10 minutes of a video. And this look at that, sweetheart. See, he watched 10 minutes of this video on a flat Earth, and this is his reaction when he stopped it at 10 minutes. So can you guys hear this? Well, actually, wait. Let me put the microphone over there by the speaker. That's what I had to do last time. So here we go, and I'll hit play in just a second. All right. Let me get back over here and hit the button. Let me know if it's not good.
Okay, I had to stop the video because of the 10-minute mark. And to be honest, I did not want to stop. I did not want to stop. Oh my goodness, this is beyond fascinating. I never thought of it that way. Like, wow. It would kind of make sense that the Earth is flat. And then again, also, it would make sense that the world is not flat, or that it has to do with the horizon and so forth. But I feel like my mind just went. It's always good to receive information, like different types of information, and this information that I just received right now, I am beyond. I don't even know how to go about this anymore. Like, I feel like looking outside right now, and well, unfortunately, I can't really see much because there's like a huge mountain in front of me. But like, just wow. And then the Photoshop thing that NASA is doing, I was like, no. But like before they could actually say that no, you can actually see a Photoshop redone. I actually saw the image real quick, and I already picked up like, whoa, why do those images look the same? Like the little clouds, I could see the clouds look so much alike compared to the others. And I'm like, nah, it can't be. And then when they really pointed it out that they were actually lazy, and they just,
So yeah, you guys get where it's
Bravo! It's so good, man. Wow,
that is awesome. What was he watching?
Rich,
Yeah.
I've sent you the link, 10-15 minutes long. I sent you the link with him watching it, and Hori speeded it up, so you should see his expressions going, woo, woo, woo.
That's
So
awesome.
I think what he
I
wants
sent
to
you the
know.
link. I sent you the link.
I think what he
Awesome.
wants to know is what video he actually watched, and that's important because we want to know what kind of content wakes people up on this kind of level. I think look at the icon in the corner of the video when I put it. Wait, maybe I can just play the very first part of it and tell you. Never mind. You guys just keep talking. I'll answer the question here. But the video has an icon. I can't quite see it. It's probably 35 questions answered. You know that video. You may or may not know it.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. Oh no, here it is. It's Planet Flat Earth Nature. He watched Planet Flat Earth 2018 Nature Documentary 2. That's ODD's video, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
There it is, and that's been a good one for waking people up. It really has. So
I think ODD's knowledge, but also the way that his voice is kind of like narrated, it's just so soothing and cool to listen to. You know, he's a perfect one to send to people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a bedtime storyteller, isn't he? I mean, yeah, I've fallen asleep to him. I really have, man. Really, I listen to that guy.
Awesome. Well, I do have to go. I've got an appointment I got to get to.
You're a hero, Mr. Thrive.
Thank you, Rich.
Oh, thank you.
I hope
to
talk to you later tonight.
I would love to chat with you about the dome, brother.
All right. Yeah, anytime. We'll have to do that.
All right. Well,
Thank
have a
you,
good appointment.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Great as always.
And Rich, I'll send you the link if you do want to pop on later. And no pressure. If you've got, it'll be relaxed. So, yeah, if you want to. Awesome. But thank you so much. So all interesting. Right. Yeah, it goes on, doesn't it? Because your experiments are not finished, are they?
No, I still have to go through the data.
Never-ending story. But Rich, it's great seeing you again, brother. Really. So
yeah, same
and
here.
Have fun. Look after yourself.
Yeah, much love from us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat room as well. God bless you all.
God bless you, brother.
Goodbye, man.
Bye, Rich. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
You know what it seems like to me, you guys? You know how, like, whenever you talk to people and they know about how lightning works, they always agree right away. Oh yeah, lightning strikes up, and then use as a dome proof. I mean, we should not use it as a dome proof. It should be like, come on, there is a dome. All the ancient ancestors didn't just say that it was flat and motionless. They all had a dome encapsulating it, and lightning's the proof. I think we should all just be like, come on, we can't even be. I mean, how do we ignore that? How do we ignore that thunder is there? It's I don't know. That's my opinion. I just can't understand why other flat earthers can't use that.
In a way, Joe, it's like disagreeing with your grandparents, isn't it? And then their grandparents, because these are our ancestors in a sense, And those generations and the generations before, they were the ones that were like, teaching this. And then slowly and surely it's been like erased from our lives basically, and then we've been indoctrinated with this flipping globe malarkey.
Copernicus's early model had a firmament because nobody would buy anything unless there was a firmament because it was in Genesis, right? So even then, like, everybody held on to some type of dome. It makes sense for our atmosphere, for rainbows, but lightning and thunder, I think, is like a Tesla coil. It's a no-brainer for us.
Anyway, can I just say that we're going to be streaming with Flat Earth Dude in about an hour and a half. So I was just wondering.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Or 45
an
minutes,
hour.
actually. 45 minutes.
Anyway, Flat Earth Dude, I'm just going to email you something now, so you'll be happy about what I'm emailing you. And
okay. Thank you.
I know that Hori, I love that video with that guy. Can we sort of wrap up this hangout now? Because
power, man.
We can all be back on again on the next one with Flat Earth Dude at the meetup in California.
Fantastic. Sounds like fun.
But like,
Karen.
That guy, Hori, was amazing because he was such a nice guy. And to be honest, when we all saw it, we all felt like him, really. You know, when we understood what flat Earth. I'm sorry, there wasn't one person that wouldn't go like, "What the? What the?"
And you saw how I paused the video and I showed his face, and his face was just like, and then that's like, yeah, that's my face. That was your face. That was 100,000 other people's face or more. When this guy realizes, oh my God, they're right, or they could be right, or any sort of like, now, if you were a ball believer, now you're at least on the fence. And that's the face I made when I at least sat on the fence. It was like, oh my God, they could be right. It's priceless.
Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you so much for what you do. Listen, Earth Dude doing his bit, Joey does his bit, Astral does. Look at all we do. We should be so proud. We have to
Love
just
you,
come
Astral.
together and be together.
Get the message out there. Get the message out there. That's the main thing. Get the message out there.
Yes, yes.
And those who've got ears to hear will hear. Those who have eyes to see will see, as the old book says. But it's true. You know, use your logic. Common sense.
Anyway, guys, no pressure or anything, but as I say, we're going to be streaming again shortly with Flat Earth Dude for the California meet. So, Hori and Joey, if you want to come back on.
Sure, I'd like to make that at least for a few minutes. I know my son's gonna wake up in a little while, so I gotta do that. But yeah,
I'll be there 100%. Flat Earth Dude, right on, brother. I didn't even know about this. Cool. Of course, I'll be here for sure.
This is big, Joey. Yeah, it's big.
I'm excited. Well, I just saw the thing with on Ladies' Night with Roxanne when you guys kept on checking in with her, and I felt like, you know, because I don't watch TV for like 7 years already, so I'm just like, oh, wow, look at us doing it, you know. So that was awesome. How many people, brother, are showing up to this thing?
Millions.
Woo!
Online.
Cool. I'm excited.
It's not just about the fact that other people are going to be there, and there might be a documentary made, and you know, it's to do with Shane Dawson's brother. Hopefully, will be there.
Jaron.
Awesome.
You know,
I'll be here the whole time.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we end this hangout because we're going to be streaming again shortly? Hori is amazing ever. I love that. I love the Tesla car, but I actually really like it when you're in the ISS space station. The best, I think.
I thought you might like it if I was in the ISS to end the show with you. So
cooler than snow under a polar bear, brother. I'm telling you.
I love you so much, Karen, for what you do. You are a superstar, just like everyone else that's spreading flat Earth on any sort of level, whether you're just talking to your friends, talking to your family, dropping business cards somewhere, putting it on social media. Hey, guess what? Earth might be flat. Popping in a NASA space channel and saying, oh, what about them space bubbles, though? I mean, if you're doing anything, good on you. Good on you. So thanks for what you do, Karen. Thanks for everybody in this panel and everybody in the chat that does it.
And I'd like to say, I know that Rich is gone now, but thank you so much to Rich. I always love a Mr. Thrive and Survive night. Anyway, we are coming back shortly. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Astral. Thank you, Flat Earth Dude. Patricia has gone, but we'll be back on very shortly. And yeah, looking forward to the next hangout too.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you, chat room. And see you in a minute.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Signing
Bye,
off
darlings.
from the ISS.
The Earth is flat.